welcome to the race.
And the lights are out. Great start then.
The Moto2 champion steps into the team that's dominating the championship.
I'm Scott Mitchell from the race. We're here at Barcelona.
Sebastian Vettel is fighting for his career.
There has to be a title assault, and anything less will be a failure.
Oh, and a spin!
We lost the GoPro.
Hello and welcome to the race. My name is Sam Collins, and it's time to have a think of the whole of 2020. It's been a very strange year, and is bringing itself to its conclusion here at Fuji Speedway. You're watching the 2020 Super GT season here on the race. I'm joined, as ever, by Rob Barff. Rob, what a year it's been.
Morning, Sam. Yeah, an amazing season so far. We're back at Fuji for our 4th visit of the season. We've managed to cram in all the rounds, and coming into the final round, well, in both classes, it's all to play for. In the leading GT500 class, 6 cars can win the championship just by winning the race. There's other permutations and combinations which we can talk about, but GT300 is a battle really between 3 cars, 2 Nissans and an AMG, and it's been a heck of a season, and fantastic to see big crowds into Fuji since the pandemic for the final round here. So really looking forward to this one, as always.
Yeah, I mean, the final race of the year in Super GT is always a little bit unpredictable, but that's like pretty much every other race we have in the Super GT season, including the last race we had, which was just as exciting as we expected. Taking a look back there from the start, Honda had a sort of difficult start to the season, but at Motegi, they got away well and dominated off the start line. And then there was this great battle between the Modulo Honda and the obviously famous orange Arta NSX. But through the field, there were these fantastic battles, but not so much for the Mach 5 GT300 car. The first pit stops came at crucial moments, and pit stop timing has become everything in this series this year. Who can forget that lucky safety car? Well, the safety car timing happened again, and everybody dived into the pit lane all at once, rather like a NASCAR pit stop. But back when racing got back going, it was all about this GT300 battle. JP Oliveira racing as aggressive as ever, and even scaring the Red Bull Mugen Honda out of it. But the battles through GT500 also absolutely thrilling. Sugo Matsuda and Hirakawa there, both in championship contention as we come into the final round. But that action from the GT300 cars can never be ruled out. The Subaru, heartbreak. But up front, this battle continued. Today's pole sitter, the Green Brave GR Supra, locked in battle with the 360 Run-Up Sports GTR. So it was for most of the rest of the race.
Been really impressed with the performance of the Green Brave Supra, Sam. Obviously did really well in the first part of the championship and is looking good for pole today. The Arta car took the victory though at Twin Ring Motegi, with the Realize Corporation, JP Oliveira, GT300, taking the victory in GT300.
Yeah, I mean, it's setting itself up for an absolutely, something we haven't really spoken about, but we will be speaking a lot about, is the temperature today at Fuji Speedway. My word, it is a little bit chilly, and nobody really knows what that means for the tyres. Tyre war, of course, in the Super GT, and we are entirely unsure, as the teams are, quite how it's going to play out.
Yeah, one manufacturer of tyre in GT500 has proved dominant thus far. The top couple of rows on the GT500 grid, all on Bridgestones. And looking at the lap times from the warm-up this morning, the Bridgestone again performing particularly well. The top 6 running on Bridgestones. But yeah, much cooler than it normally is at this time of year. And it'll be very interesting to see what the other tyre manufacturers, particularly how the Michelins on the Nissan perform as well. So I'll be looking carefully at those little red coloured dots on the timing screen to see which tyres are running where, Sam.
Well, one person who's going to have to be dealing with that problem right from the outset is Belgian racing driver Bertrand Baguette. On the run-up to this race just a few days ago, we managed to catch up with Bertrand at his flat in Tokyo.
So we're joined here by Keihin Real Racing driver Bertrand Baguette, Belgium's fastest man in Japan. Bertrand, how are you finding? You look like from the backdrop, it looks like you've settled in extraordinarily well into a life in Japan these days.
Yeah, I mean, it's already my 7th year in Japan. This year I've been a lot here due to the COVID. I was completely stuck in Japan. It's quite a tough time for me because I have a wife and a little boy as well in Belgium that I didn't see for 5 months now. But yeah, I like to be racing with Honda because I have been 7 years with Honda as well. So no, having a great time here, definitely.
Now, you mentioned racing with Honda. Of course, the final race of this year's Super Tight Championship is on Toyota territory. It's at Fuji Speedway. But my word, does it look like it's going to be really cold this weekend?
Yeah, it's last time I watched the weather forecast, it says like maximum 10 degrees or something like this. So I never drove the car in such a cold temperature. So as you know, it's a brand new concept for us with the NSX. We have a front engine this year. So we have to understand really how the car is working and understand what we have to do exactly on the setup to adapt the car to the different temperature, different tires, different condition, different tracks. Luckily this year we went only to 3 tracks. But yeah, as you said, now we go to a very cold temperature in Fuji and without any data in those temperatures. So it will be interesting to see how the car behaves in the first hour of free practice, and hopefully we can adapt it quite quickly and be at the front.
Now, assuming you can get any power down out of that final corner at Fuji Speedway, down the long stretch, you've got those Toyota Supras and you've got those Nissan GTRs going down the straight with you. How do you feel the Honda compares to them?
To be very honest with you, I think we have an advantage on Nissan, but definitely the Supra is really fast in the straight line. That's their strengths. I don't know if it's the engine or the fact that the design of the car, the Supra is not dragging at all in the straight line or very little compared to us. But yeah, every time we come in a straight line, like the Supra is flying. And obviously in Fuji, when you have a straight line speed advantage, it's a massive advantage. So I guess that's why they are so quick all the time we go in this track, and I'm sure they will be quick as well this weekend. So we will have to be quicker than them in the corner, and hopefully we can keep them behind the straight line.
Now, the championship is wide open. It could go many different ways. The permutations table is huge. Who's going to win the championship come Sunday evening?
Hopefully us. I hope so. We go there for that. I think we have a great chance to win it. I was hoping, to be honest, for the gap in the championship to be bigger coming to the last round. Now that we go to the last race with the same amount of points as car 37, the Toyota, and also like the other Toyotas are quite close behind. I mean, it will be a tough race for us, but everything is possible. We won Fuji Round 2. We were really strong as well in Fuji Round 1, but we had a turbo issue, unfortunately. So I think we can win it, to be honest. We can win it, and we will do everything to win it, and hopefully we will win the championship with the race.
Well, Bertrand Baguette, thanks for joining us here, and very good luck, well, this afternoon. And for everybody at home, this is going to be really exciting.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, let's hope for a good race.
Well, that was fascinating to hear from the Keihin NSX driver. Keihin, the last round for that famous Super GT name. The Keihin NSX has been a feature since the Keihin sponsor came to the series via the Le Mans 24 Hours, I believe back in 1995. That brand is being discontinued in Japan. I believe they make light bulbs, and they will not be a feature of the 2021 season. That car, of course, is not Keihin if I'm talking about, of course, it's Raybrig. Raybrig is the last round. Keihin will continue as normal. So it's the Raybrig brand that will go away, the number 100 car. And the Keihin team Kunomitsu will be looking for a new sponsor for next year. They seem quite relaxed about it. As we look at the clouds over by Mount Fuji, Looking a little bit gloomy there, Rob, but let's have a look at the starting grid. On pole position, it's Kenta Yamashita in the keeper Tom's GR Supra alongside Heikki Kovalainen in the number 39, Denso Kabelko Saad GR Supra. Then the 36, Tom's GR Supra, Sasha Fenestras starts that. The 38, Zent's GR Supra, Tachikawa at the wheel, rounds out an all-Toyota top four. The first of the Hondas, the Modulo NSX, driven by Izawa, is fifth. Sixth position is Ronnie Quintarelli in the first of the Nissans. It's the red car, number 23. 7 is the Raybrick NSX, Makino at the wheel of that car. Alongside him, the blue car. Just behind the red car, it's the CALSONIC GTR in 8th position. 9th is a good start for the number 9 white Nissan GTR, Kohei Hirati at the wheel of that. 10th position is the Wed Sport GR Supra, Kunimoto starts that. 11th is the Arta NSX of Nojiri and Fukuzumi, Nojiri starting. 12th is the Keihin NSX of Bertrand Baguette. He's a little bit disappointed to be starting from back there with a good championship tilt. 13th, Oshima in the Wacos 4CR GR Supra, then the Red Bull Mugen Honda, and at the back of the grid, as seems to be the story for 2020, is Jan Mardenborough in the Realize Corporation GTR. Meanwhile, in GT300, the Saitama Toyopet GR Supra GT300, Kawai starts that from pole position. Then the Subaru alongside him. The Advix Muta MC86 in third. Fourth is the K-Tunes RCF, driven by Morio Nitta. Then at fifth position, one of the leading championship contenders, it's the Leon Period AMG Mercedes. Suganami starts that. Then the Gainer TANAX GTR, sixth position. Seventh, the championship rival, then the championship leader, Fujinami starts the 56 Nissan GTR from its 7th position. Great start for the Lotus in 8th. Then 9th position is the Takanoko no Yu RCF GT3 in 9th. 10th position, the Mac 5 GT Net MC86 Max Sayakan Team Mac 86. The Hoppy Porsche is 11th. The other Tanax GTR is 12th. Then the Teddy Bear BMW's Team Study from 13th. 14th, the first of the Toyota Priuses. Yes, I did say Toyota Priuses. Nagai starts that car in 15th. Is Jake Parsons after getting away in the Modulo Kenwood NSX GT3. Then the run-up 360 Sports GTR in 16th. The first of the Lamborghinis in at 17th. It's the T-Dash Lamborghini alongside the number 88 J-Lock Lamborghini in 18th. The 19th position is the Cintium LM Corsa RCF GT3, and 20th is the Hitotsuyama Audi R8 LMS. The second of the two Toyota Priuses, normally the faster car, the number 31 is in 21st position. Then the Aston Martin in at 22nd. Fuji starts that. 23rd position is the Up Garage NSX GT3, started by Kobayashi. Then at 24, it's Hatsune Miku. 25th position, Sean Walkinshaw starts the Arto RCF GT3 from Thailand. Alongside in 26th position, the Ava RT Test Type 01X Works R8 with Sasaki starting that. The RQ's AMG GT3 is 27th. 28 is the Arnage GT3. Then the Arta NSX GT3 right down in 29th. And the back of the grid is the Hair Tonic Shokumu K's Frontiers GTR. Either starts that car. Rob, bit of a mixed up grid going into the opening phase of this race, and some heavy cloud. Look at that. Air temperature only 8 degrees centigrade, 13 degrees track temperature, and 32 degrees humidity. Rain is a distinct possibility as ever at Fuji Speedway. Cold conditions, hot racing, I reckon.
Proper chilly. It's going to be fascinating to see that battle in GT300, Sam. Remember, our top 3 in the championship all sandwiched together there in P7, P5 and P6 in that order.
Well, thoughtful moments there on the starting grids. And it's been a difficult year to reach this point. But that's what the championship rankings look like. A lot of cars in contention for both GT500 and GT300. There you can see all of those top 6 cars able to get in there. Similar situation in GT300, the 56, the 65 and the 11, all are there or thereabouts. We could see a long shot 52, the pole-sitting GT300 car could get in there as well. Mount Fuji, though, covered in cloud for now. Very little snow, despite the low temperatures, very little snow on top of Mount Fuji over the last few days. So let's have a quick look back at what went on in qualifying. And as usual, it started with an arty shot. A lot warmer in qualifying yesterday, but this is the car that was setting the pace, and it was the Green Brave GR Supra. That car has been a bit of a revelation of the 2020 season, designed and built by the APR team, but modified and operated by the Saitama Toyopet organisation, a local garage in Saitama Prefecture, where you can go and get your car serviced by the mechanics who run this racing team. But this is the car that everybody was focused on, the Realize GT3 specification car, and that was the car that worked really well. And it's been, now that is the favourite to go into the championship hunt with the most points, but that Saitama Toyopet GR Supra is going to be a little bit of a tough challenge to overcome. One first time out here at Fuji Speedway right at the start of the season, and it's quick again. Then the keeper Tom's Supra was also running strongly. Nick Cassidy not in that car. He's watching from the Formula E test in Valencia. So hello to you, Nick, and we hope that you are going to be able to take part with us in the chat if you're up bright and early in Spain. Don't worry if you're a little bit sleepy when driving a Formula E car, because you should be tuned in to see how your teammates are getting on, because it is going to be mighty close at the top of the field. And that little logo you can see behind the timing is the Takanokoyo hotel chain. They are sponsoring all of these races and have made it possible to bring us Super GT this season. But there you go, keeper Tom's Supra starting from pole position. Will they finish the race like that? I doubt it. There you go. The Arta NSX, though, is how we bring it back in. Rob, predictions, just as before we get back going.
Sam, I'm going to firmly place my bet on Ryo Hirakawa, I'm afraid. Looking at him being sitting there with that 1 point lead in the championship, starting from pole position and racing Bertrand Baguette, who we heard from earlier. Bertie Baguette down in 12th. That's an awful lot of traffic to get through. But as we've seen at Fuji in previous occasions, all it takes is one safety car and it can mix the field up. But again, as we say every single time, Sam, look at the quality and quantity of cars on the grid.
And there's a car missing on the grid there, Rob. I didn't see who it was. It was alongside the MC86 in GT300, the Muta car. There should have been a car in that position, and there wasn't. Somebody's missing off the grid. Just spotted that. So already, Super GT is proving unpredictable. Don't forget, though, to hit like and subscribe to help us cover the Super GT Championship and Super Formula and many other racing series here on the-race.com. First season of Super GT for the race. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the last. And don't forget, you can join the channel as well. Kaka Silva has just done that and donated 50 NOx, which is very nice. Thank you for your NOx. And there is a map. 4.5 kilometer Fuji Speedway. And Rob, you have raced at this track and we've both been around it on numerous occasions. Give us a little bit of an insight.
It's a fabulous circuit to race around. The circuit is dominated by that long front straight that you can see. However, one of the highlights of the lap is the corner that the cars are coming into now, Sam, where we see the drivers desperately trying to get heat in those stone cold slicks, turn 4. It's a very, very long horseshoe corner that dips down before rises up into a fabulous overtaking opportunity here at the hairpin at turn 7. and they then dive downhill down this long descending right-hander before the circuit changes in character somewhat. And the final sector from turn 10 onwards is a lot tighter and a lot twistier. And remember, we've got 15 cars in the GT500 category, but 29 cars in the GT300 category. And if the leaders get tangled up with those slower GT300s cars through this sector here, it can make a massive difference. It can make 5 seconds difference to a lap time. So the lap concludes with these hairpins that are back to back to back before coming out through Panasonic corner there at turn 16 onto the front start straight. And this straight, Sam, 1,475 meters in length.
Yeah, I mean, that is where to get that run out of the final corner, you need to get that toe going on. You can go all the way down the start-finish straight. And turn 1 is one of the biggest overtaking points of this circuit and always has been that way. But Toyota Prius corner, will it fancy the Toyota Priuses? They're not running well at what is Toyota's home circuit in Japan. But the rest of the Supras really are. It is a very much Supra-centric circuit, which, if you like your Supras, is super.
Yeah, it's Supra-dominated, isn't it? The top 4 Supra, top 4 positions on the starting grid dominated by the Supras. The championship now being led by Ryo Hirakawa in his Supra, and they certainly have gone well here. The car's getting an extra formation lap to get the heat in the tyres that they need for a safe start. Remember, no tyre warmers in the Super GT Championship. Just another 300-kilometre race today, folks, so it is a straight sprint to the flag. There'll be probably 1 pit stop for a driver change and a bit of refueling and a set of tyres. So not multiple stops, just expecting a single stop. And there on our screens coming into turn 1 is our pole-sitting GT300 car. Again, one of those pesky Supras.
Yeah, we're just looking at that list. I mean, as if you were unsure of the importance of this final round of the 2020 Super GT season. Those little graphics you've been seeing on your screen as Rob was talking, drive it home. The list of champions currently showing GT300. We saw GT500 before that. Shinichi Takagi and Nirei Fukuzumi, the reigning GT300 champions. That combination is unlikely, well, frankly, pretty unlikely to be taking the championship again this year in GT300, because it's considering it's a lineup that doesn't really exist anymore. Good to see some new members joining the channel, so don't forget to hit like and subscribe, because this is the final showdown here at Fuji Speedway. This is the end of what has been an unpredictable but nonetheless incredibly exciting and challenging 2020 Super GT season. It's been great to have you all on board with us for this ride around 3 of the greatest race circuits in Japan. Next year, we will hopefully get the full set back, and that's the plan anyway. But it's been fantastic having you all along, so thank you very much. It's been great to have the team, Barffy and Collins, back together one more time as we get ready for the series to get back going, get the racing happening once more around Fuji Speedway. These 300-kilometre races have been a little bit of a revelation. They've been quite exciting, quite good lengths. Whilst I like the long distance races as well, it has worked quite well this year in terms of racing action. With 1 more pace lap to go, it'll be interesting to see how that forms up on the field. I love that view of the cars foreshortened down the long start-finish straight here at Fuji Speedway, and you can see that gaggle of Supras at the front of the pack. Will they be able to hold it together all the way through that first lap?
It's going to be very interesting to see what true pace the Supras have. They've been hampered a little bit by the fuel flow and the weight handicaps at the previous round. For the penultimate round, those weight handicaps were halved, and for the final round, they just take them away. I think it's fair to say, Sam, that we've seen great pace from the Honda NSXs of late. In the sort of latter parts of the championship, they've been particularly dominant. Obviously did very well at the last round at Motegi, but I just got a feeling here at the track owned by Toyota that the Supras might run very, very well here. And obviously with no weight handicap, we're going to see the true pace from them.
Absolutely, and that is one of the key things of this finale at Fuji Speedway, is that there is no success ballast. Everybody is back to the default settings of these cars. This is an unhinged, unlimited attack on this race circuit, and these guys are going to be going for it from lap 1. This is the true pace of each car represented. There are two classes in Super GT. GT500 works cars, carbon fiber monocoques. Every car has a 2-litre turbocharged inline 4-cylinder engine producing around 650 brake horsepower, direct injection and pre-chamber ignition. These are like Formula One engines of a different configuration. Back in GT300, you have a mix of FIA GT3 specification cars. You have the JAF GT300 cars based on production cars, cars like the Subaru BRZ, the Toyota Prius, and of course the Toyota Supra, which sits on pole position. Then you have the mother chassis cars, the Toyota GT86 and the Lotus Evora. They use the same carbon fiber monocoque, but use a off-the-shelf, unbranded 4.5-litre, normally aspirated V8 engine of the type often seen at the Le Mans 24 Hours. But as the field forms up, this is where the action is going to get pretty spicy. They're forming up the GT500 field, getting ready for the start. You'll see the pace car diving for the pit lane. There he goes, and we are ready to go racing here at Fuji Speedway one last time in 2020. This is the-race.com, and you're watching the 2020 Super GT season get underway. It's the finale. Will the 37 car be able to hold its championship lead all the way through to the finish of this race? I don't think it's going to be that easy as the lights go to green one last time. Let's go racing at Fuji Speedway.
Super long hold there on the red lights, long front straight as we highlighted on their formation lap, but it's Supras as they were with Quintarelli looking to make the long way around at turn 1, doesn't quite make it, but yeah, Ryo Hirakawa leads as they come down towards this fast left-hander at turn 3.
Quintarelli on the grass there trying to get up the inside, but in GT300 the race gets underway as well. The Green Brave Supra is on the way up the start-finish straight, but as usual the GT300 field is a bit of a difficult one to call into the first corner. The Subaru trying to get the run round the outside of the Supra. Will he make that work? The MC80X6 from Muta isn't working, but look at the front of the GT500 pack right now, Rob.
Sam, we're 4 wide coming down into turn 10 in GT500. Quintarelli goes round the outside. I did not see that one coming. The Michelin tyres on the Nissan, just stunning performance from the Michelins, from Quintarelli, from the Nissan. 4 wide, he takes the lead. Blown away, Sam. Unbelievable.
That I was trying not to shout wow extremely loudly in your ears there, Rob. That was a staggeringly good move. What a manoeuvre there from the red car, the Nissan GTR, from 5th to the lead by the end of the first lap. And look, he's opening up a gap. Meanwhile, the Subaru got the move done on the Green Brave Supra in GT300. That pack is just as exciting. 4 wide into the Prius chicane with the Prius in the middle of that bunch. But looking back down that field, the 37 Red Bull Keeper, well, no longer Red Bull, the Keeper Toms Supra is losing time, but behind him, the other Toms, the AU Toms car is wheel to wheel, banging reels for Heikki Kovalainen in the Team Saad Supra for 3rd and 4th position. Behind them, the Zendt Tsurumo Supra is getting into the mix as well. Wow, what a first lap.
The gloves are off in this Supra battle, and the Nissans turned up to 11, Sam. Remember, all that MOTUL have to do, the MOTUL AUTECH Nissan GTR, they just have to win this race and they win the championship. And the guys at Nissan have cranked that up to 11. And look at the lead Quintarelli's got. Unbelievable. But yeah, the Team Saad car defending there from the Tom's AU car coming down into turn 10 as we see the championship protagonists in GT300 come together.
They're wheel to wheel, the Realize GTR and the Leon Mercedes. These are the championship rivals in GT300. The blue Nissan has got past the Mercedes. That is crucial. The Lexus behind them, yes, they're racing for position, but not for championship position. The Lotus, they're trying to go round the outside of the Lexus as well, getting that one done neatly. But this is the battle that we care about. The Leon Mercedes versus JP Oliveira in the Realize GTR. And as the field streams past that packed grandstand at Fuji Speedway, the spectators will be beside their own seats, looking at how unpredictable this first 2 laps of this race have already been. And look at that GT500 field, all in one long line, trying to get the toe down the start-finish straight. Whoa, this is going to go the way the MOTUL AUTECH GTR in the race lead. There you can see it, up 5 positions. The KN NSX though, Bertrand Baguette up 6 positions off the start. He's got a lot to do, but back in GT300, I can't even finish the point I was going to make. There's too much going on, because in the toe of the Subaru, battling for the lead and in championship contention still, is the Green Brave GR Supra. They need to win this race to have any hope of winning the title. He's in the draft. Is he going to get the run done into turn 1? He pulls out of the toe. He's going to try to go up the inside. I don't think that's going to work though.
It's not on the front of the Toyota there, oscillating around as he came down to the end of the straight. Interesting to see these 2 very different cars battling. The balance of performance worked out very, very well, and the performance of these GT300s over the course of the season has always been very close together. But yeah, this is that spicy battle that we said we'd have to keep an eye on. Starting from 6th and 7th, they remain 6th and 7th. Every point is going to be crucial coming into this. There are only a handful of points in GT300 separating the top 3, so every place matters. And here we see a replay of how that lead changed. The Supra ran a little wide out of turn 1, and the little Supra got this little BRZ, I beg your pardon, got up the inside. So the blue car takes the lead from the green.
Yeah, and in case you're wondering, the Subaru BRZ at the front of the field is mechanically entirely different to the GT86 in the 3rd position, based on the same production car. And there's been a spin in the middle of the field. That is the Modulo GT3 NSX, and lucky to get away without much damage there. But I can see another car has gone off. It looked like it was one of the Audis, the GT3 specification Audis. Who was it that got clipped? It was a Lamborghini, not an Audi, built by the same company. And well, that is the... And did he manage to go? Yeah, the Lamborghini managed to get a broken suspension, has gone quite straight on there at that corner. That could bring out a safety car, but most likely is to bring out a response vehicle and a localized yellow. I was just saying the BRZ you see leading GT300 for now is a different specification of car, built to the JAF GT300 technical regulations, where you have to utilize the production car and parts of the production car, like some of the bodywork, but you're allowed to use any engine from the manufacturer's range, which is why that car is powered by an evolution of the old Subaru World Rally Championship engine, the flat 4 EJ20 Boxer. Meanwhile, the car in 2nd is built to those same technical regulations. That's the GR Supra. But in 3rd position, that car is built to the mother chassis regulations, where the base model has almost no parts whatsoever beyond, I think, the headlights and the badge that carry over from the production car. All the rest is purpose-built racing car. That car in 3rd position. Meanwhile, up front, Ronnie Quintarelli, who managed to get those Michelin tyres on his MOTUL AUTECH GTR switched on straight away, is now seeing a response from the 2nd place Toyota.
Yeah, Ryo Hirakawa keeping the gap fairly static, about 3/4 of a second. But as we can see, Sam, now Quintarelli is getting into the back of the GT300 field, and this will be crucial. So he needs to just keep a cool head and cut through the traffic, as we've seen him do round on round, year on year. He's a wise old fox, Quintarelli. But that battle in GT300, well, we've got 60 laps to go yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 5 laps in, lap 5 is 65, the 2020 Super GT Series here on the-race.com, and we've had more action in those 5 laps than some race series have had this entire 2020 season. I'm not just talking for the ones who've been cancelled because of the pandemic. This is just because of the nature of the action in Super GT.
So just as I said, that gap was staying static. It's starting to come down as we see the Team Saad car peeling for the pit lane, Sam. Didn't expect to see him boxing so soon. That must be a problem.
It's either from, yes it is, look at the left rear of the car, there's heavy damage on the left rear of that car for Heikki Kovalainen. That must have come from that wheel-to-wheel battle we saw on the opening lap. But look at this gap for the race lead now. Ronnie Kintarelli just about holding off Kenta Yamashita, but that gap has gone from, it was over a second at one point. My little system here is telling me it's only 3/10. I think it's a little bit less than that as the cars come around. That orange Mercedes though, blowing up Yamashita ever so slightly. This is a battle, not just for the lead, it's a battle for the championship. Meanwhile, there is that damage on the Team Saad Supra. Standard tyre change, no driver change, because it's too early for that. I wonder if they're going to have to roll the dice on the strategy and pray for a safety car as the Lamborghini is being recovered under a localised yellow. These two, though, still battling in GT300.
Very interesting to see where the GT500 leaders, Sam, had caught that pack of GT300 leaders. As I mentioned on the warm-up lap, if you catch that pack in this sector where we are now, it can have a very detrimental effect as we see Hirakawa looking the long way round at Panasonic corner. He's going to get the cut back. Ronnie's going to get the tow from the Audi, though, but he's going to get boxed in, I think. And this is the battle, as you say, for the championship. This is gloves off. Whoever wins this race out of these two wins the championship. And Ryo Hirakawa looking down the inside. It's going to be a battle of who's braver on the brakes.
And look at the GT300 traffic they're going to have to deal with. Kintarelli is not the best placed person here, and the GT300 cars did indeed box him in. He loses the lead and drops back to second position. But look at that traffic in front. They've got to race through that fourth position, and some of those are the faster GT300 runners. If Kintarelli can get through this traffic well, he will be able to get back on terms with the 37 Toyota. But as things stand, he's not, the traffic hasn't fallen well for the Nissan there.
It hasn't, and again 3 wide as we come through turn 7. They're going to dive down. Looks like they have a little bit of clean air in front of them, but Ryo Hirakawa, not only has he retaken the lead on this lap, he's pulled out a reasonably good gap there. Ronnie needs to get the move done on that slower GT300 car. No, he hasn't. So Hirakawa, he can't overtake there because of that snatch vehicle and the recovering Lamborghini. So that's really cost him dear. Now he's past a green flag. He can re-overtake and crack on with moving that gap down to Hirakawa ahead. But again, in GT300, can the Supra, it looks to have a slight straight line advantage. Can he make it stick into turn 1?
He's got it up the inside there, Rob. He has. And that was textbook Fuji Speedway, but also the textbook turn 1 cutback from the Subaru. They'll be wheel to wheel all the way down to this next sequence of corners, but I think the Subaru's got the advantage here. He's not going to be able to get it done at this time. The TV director will be able to use that exact same camera angle at the end of this lap, I think.
Yeah, we've seen this sort of time on time this year, haven't we, Sam, where the little nimble Subaru holds the advantage through the more technical sections, and then the Supra has just that slippery straight line advantage. And where one has an advantage, it's cancelled out in other areas. Just terrific racing. If you're new to Super GT, A, where have you been? And B, this is completely normal. This battling class on class, lap on lap. It's like this at every race, folks. If you're new to Super GT, a warm welcome. And yeah, where have you been?
The commentators in particular, which is normal for Super GT, a bit like normal for North. About as he spent so much time there. Ronnie Kintarelli has dropped back 2.6 seconds away from while we've been watching this battle for the GT300 lead from Kenta Yamashita in the lead in a GT500. But this battle in a GT300, well, this is I think we've been played, it looks, the TV director's playing us the same clip over and over again of the Subaru leading the GR Supra down the start-finish straight. The GR Supra thinks about having a run into the first corner, doesn't quite get it done.
No, he's not quite close enough this lap. And yeah, just holds fire behind. Can he get the cutback though? No. And the little the little MC86 there, terrific traction off the corners as well, the little Subaru. But further back in the GT500 category, two NSXs battling, the two blue cars there, as Kintarelli cuts past more of those GT300, and now he's got the the AU Tom's car closing him down as well. So the orange and white car closing down the red Nissan.
Now, let's not forget that orange and white Supra is the... now, what's happened here to Ronnie Quintarelli? Well, there's the two race leaders. Now we see contact, heavy contact there, between the AU Tom's Supra and the Saab Supra. That's where Heikki Kovalainen picked up that damage. Now, will that be deemed to be morally hazardous? I wonder. Sasha Fenestraz, has he attracted the attention of the race director? I think he has, but he's certainly got his attentions on the back of that red Nissan right now. Crucially, though, Fenestraz's teammate is going off for the championship. He's leading this race. Quintarelli is the rival. Toms will be very grateful to Fenestraz if he makes Ronnie Quintarelli's life a little bit difficult in the coming corners.
Just keeping a close eye on the body language of the cars there through the final sector. Certainly looks like that advantage that the Michelin tyre had over the Bridgestone in the opening lap has now gone away. Ronnie's working the car particularly hard. And Sasha Fenestraz, he's got a good toe, but he's not quite close enough to make the move, I don't think, down into turn one. Meanwhile, at the front of GT300, it's as it was. Remember, the GT300 cars, Sam, running yellow headlights and yellow number panels.
It's not as it was, Rob. Kwai got past. He made a cute little move into turn one and finally got past the Subaru. So the GR Supra has returned to the lead and got it done. Here we see a replay coming down into turn one, as he's done every single lap. This time just got it done, went very deep on the brakes and just got that apex speed high enough that the Subaru couldn't get a run back at him on the next section of track. But that battle is far from over. However, a battle that may be over is Yamashita versus Quintarelli. Quintarelli's lap times are half a second a lap now slower than those of Kenta Yamashita in the Keeper Tom's car at the front. The Nismo run MOTUL AUTECH GTR is dropping back, and Sasha Fenestraz really is getting into the mix, and they're not far ahead of Yuji Tachikawa in the Zensurumo Supra as well. But in the middle of there is that Zensurumo car getting troubled there by Makino, who I hadn't spotted coming through the field. He must have got past Bertrand Piquet as well. I'm not quite sure. There is no Piquet has got past. That's what I didn't spot. Piquet has already got past and is working his way up through the field.
I was really glad you were describing that, because I was just like, yeah, there's just 8 cars all in like one stretch of tarmac there. It's just nonsense, isn't it? But that's the beauty of Super GT. That is the sort of mid pack of 500s coming through the leaders of 300. Quintarelli being forced to go defensive on Fenestraz. Fenestraz looking to go the long way round at turn one, and I think he's going to do this, Sam.
Yeah, I think he's got that. Yeah, it looked like the Nissan just couldn't get the power down. They nearly touched on the mid-corner. As I said, it's in Fenestraz's interest to go very aggressive on Quintarelli. But Quintarelli, the way that car's moving, he's twitching. Now, Rob, what was that about? Twitching the car all the way there under braking and then all the way down the straight.
Yeah, you're allowed to make one defensive move, but Ronnie wasn't sort of moving the car in like a predictable manner there. I don't know whether he was trying to make the car appear a little bit wider than it actually is. Yeah, difficult one, and perhaps he's managing a problem in there that we're not aware of from outside. But Fenestraz, again, makes the move and just stretches clear as we come down to that sector where they've tucked the Lamborghini into what they deem to be a safe position. So he must be stuck there for the remainder of the race, and they'll just cover that with a hazard board. So now overtaking will be allowed there down into turn 10.
Yeah, and that's Super GT's way of doing things. Just leave cars lying around the race circuit. It works out fine. Here you go, though, the battle between the two blue NSX cars. If you're not counting the Raybrick, the MOTUL AUTECH, the Red Bull Mugen Honda as well. But you've got Raybrick versus Cahin for the final time in Super GT. Well, this is the final time you'll see this pairing matched up against each other. Raybrick, as I mentioned earlier in the show, out of the sport end of the season and out of it as it ran. But look at the toe they're getting off each other down at that start-finish straight, and they are beginning to home in.
They are. I was just thinking exactly the same thing. I was like, Bertrand Piquet, what? from 12th on the grid. What's going on here? Yeah, Bertrand Baguette has come up, Sam, 8 positions into P4, and he's another one of those cars. If he wins the race today, he wins the championship. And we were talking about Quintarelli winning the championship, what, 4 or 5 laps ago? He's got Quintarelli within his sights now. So, yeah, Bertrand Baguette, a brilliant opening 12 laps.
Well, even though there's traffic, I was about to say, Baguette, you can see the MOTUL AUTECH GTR just coming out of your screen. They're going through the GT300 traffic. Now, he did get traffic, but he lost 2 seconds on that last lap. Ronnie Quintarelli lost 2 seconds on that last lap to Bertrand Baguette. That Nissan is not working well right now.
It must be down to the temperature, Sam. It must be. Perhaps they put a softer compound of tyre on that explains how he managed to turn the tyre on so well for the opening couple of laps, but now it's overheating, is starting to go away. It'll be very interesting to see when we do get into the pit stops who puts a pair of tyres on and who puts 4 tyres on, because a shorter stop could have massive connotations for track position and then in turn championship positions. But Baguette being forced to go defensive down into turn 1.
That's Makino trying to go around the outside of Baguette. I think he's going to get that move done. Baguette needs to get the traction down in that Cahin car and isn't quite getting it done, and the Raven car gets in front. I don't think he's going to stay like that. Nor are they in the pit garage. Looking on at the action. There's your GT300 race leader as well, and that'll give the GT500 cars a little bit of clear air to run in, and that's already having a difference on the lap times. GT500 cars now running a second a lap quicker than they were just a couple of minutes ago. All of them because they're getting into that clean air. That's how much the GT300 cars slow down. And speaking of that clean air, look at our race leader. He is out on a solo track day by the look of it.
Yeah, Kenta Yamashita, now almost 9 seconds clear, Sam. He's pulled a second a lap pretty much, just over a second a lap for the last 2 or 3 laps. So he's coming round, and as you say, look at that cracking view, clean air ahead of him. So he's got at least 2 or 3 laps just to rest, relax, keep his head down, minimize the number of mistakes he makes. And he's looking to hand over to Ryo Hirakawa, who leads the GT500 championship by that single point that he earned for pole position.
The CALSONIC blue car there locked in battle with the Zensurumo Supra. Daiki Sasaki got past Yuji Tachikawa, but Tachikawa got it back down the start, finished straight, and I think Daiki Sasaki is going to try and go around the outside of turn 1. He is, but the Zensurumo car gets on the brakes a little bit later. Sasaki's going to try and get the run into the first corner. He's too far back to make that work, but let's not forget, Sasaki started directly behind Ronnie Quintarelli. Right now, Daiki Sasaki in the blue car, down in 7th. Ronnie Quintarelli was up in the race lead, but it's now falling back into the clutches with an angry pack of Hondas. Honda's working their way through. The current order is Toyota, Nissan, Honda, Toyota, Nissan.
Sam, do you want to take just 3 seconds to get your breath there? I think that was 14 laps of some of the best racing I've ever seen, let alone in Super GT, just anywhere. Quintarelli's move on turn 1, was that the best move of the year we've seen? Was that better than his overtake in the traffic at Suzuka?
Oh, that's a hard one to call. I need to see a replay of Ronnie Quintarelli's move. But look, the MOTUL AUTECH GTR there, just losing 3rd position. That car doesn't look to be reacting and moving around properly. It's sort of twitching a lot more than you expect in places you wouldn't expect. Either the tyres have gone off or there's something wrong in the suspension of that red Nissan GTR, I think.
I think he's managing look at Quintarelli. He's moving the car around on the straights as if he's trying to... He wouldn't be trying to warm the tyres at this stage. Maybe he's trying to clean the tyres. He could have picked up some pickup that he's from running offline, overtaking the GT300 cars. He could have picked up some pickup on the tyres, and that's causing him some instability in the car. But yes, Quintarelli definitely managing something as we see the Zent car and the CALSONIC car still locked in battle. There's an iconic pair of liveries in Super GT as we see the Wacos team rookie car coming up behind them as well.
Look at the gaps coming down through the field. That 10, 2.3 second gap between these two cars. Now there's, well, not really that much at all. The Wacos team rookie, new car on the grid. for 2020. Well, they're all new, but this was a new team on the grid for the 2020 team, run in conjunction with the Zensurumo car, but using the old Wacos Team Le Mans livery, but it is a different racing team running that car, even though it looks the same as the Wacos sponsored car that's run in Super GT for a long time. Meanwhile, more defensive driving from Ronnie Quintarelli. Bertrand Baguette is the next one to come and queue up behind the MOTUL AUTECH GTR, and I'm not sure Quintarelli really has much left in the way of defences against this Honda. He certainly doesn't. He just doesn't seem to be able to get it turned in properly there, Ron.
No, he's certainly struggling, particularly through the slower sections. The front of the Nissan really is lacking something. And again, we see Quintarelli moving around. I can't believe he's struggling for tyre temperature at this point in the race, looking at the aggressive start he made. But in the one-make Supra Championship there, oh no, I was going to say the one-make Supras, there's a Nissan in the middle of a Supra sandwich, and the Wacos team rookie car does the pair of them. A brilliant move there. But the Zenk car has good position for the fast left-hander at turn 3. Can he make the cutback there?
Yeah, and this battle is very, well, it's typical of GT500 with swapping of two manufacturers. These two Toyotas have similar performance brackets, but different tyre setups, different suspension layouts, well, not complete layouts, but different setups in that term. And then you've got the Nissan just clicking through into the middle of this pairing. Daiki Sasaki, they're trying to get that car up to pace, and really Nissan has struggled quite a bit this year, but then the MOTUL AUTECH GTR ends up in championship contention. But then final round, some mystery problem befalls Ronnie Quintarelli in his first stint. We probably won't find out what that is until the end of the race. But this is a crucial battle between that blue GTR and that black Mercedes. That is the battle for the championship in GT300. Both of these cars are in title contention, but they both have not forgotten that up the road there's a green Supra they might have to start to worry about as Quintarelli loses more positions at the final corner. That, yeah, there's some problem. He's falling back, and now he's heading for the pits. Is he? No, he's just trying to get his car working. It looks like he's struggling for tyre temperature, but like the way he's weaving the car, but I just can't believe it because the tyre got temperature so quickly. Because Race Car, thank you very much for joining the channel. Don't forget, if you're watching this and enjoying this, to hit like and subscribe. He asked very quickly, I'm going to fire this one in, what is the weirdest or most out-of-place car to have raced in Super GT JGTC? He thinks it was the Camaro that did just a single race in 1997. I would say it was possibly the Subaru Legacy, the saloon that raced for a while, the B4 Legacy that was replaced by the BRZ some time ago. I always found that car a very strange one. But there's your real-time series ranking. The guy in the timing tower shows you just how tight it is at the top of the GT300 Championship. Look at that. The Supra crew and the crew of the 56 Realised Nissan GTR. There he is, absolutely tied on points as things stand now. But if JP Oliveira, and I think it is JP at the wheel of the Realised car at the moment, no, maybe it's not actually, can get past, it's not, it's Fujinami, can get past the Gainer TANAX GTR, then the Nissan takes the lead in the championship for now. Obviously, with the Supra in the lead, there's nowhere he can go to gain more points.
I can't believe that with only 18 laps under our belt, they're starting to do potential championship calculations. I think that's just pointless. There's so much overtaking and so many unseen fences still left to climb over that they're looking at those championship tables. I'm going to start looking at those, Sam, with about 10 laps to go. Before then, but yeah, my mathematics, as you know, it just can't cope at the best of times. So yeah, every point matters, every overtake matters, every corner. In a situation like this, you cannot let your concentration lapse for a moment. The drivers have got to be absolutely on it 100% of the time. Maximum attack, zero risk.
Well, that is, I mean, that's the reason we're getting these calculations, because this is going to play out in real time through the race with those two tied on points in GT300. Also, we've got a guy in the timing tower who's having to make these graphics up, so he's got to have something to do for this next 18 laps gone, 65 laps to go. I mean, I can't imagine what he must be watching because, you know, there's so much exciting action on track. This is, though, now with Fujinami trying to get round the Gain of TANAX GTR, not doing it. But look, the Leon Mercedes is coming to sneak that position in as well. And that will mean the graphics guy has to do a new graphic again, because these are championship contenders. That Leon Mercedes, they're not getting it done. But now Fujinami moves into the lead in the GT300 championship on the road. That's why we have those graphics, Rob.
Wow. I was just looking at the GT300 championship table, and yeah, the blue car, the Kondo car we're looking at there, the 56 car, he is now leads the championship, both historically coming out of the last round and on predicted positions today. But that, I think, puts the Leon AMG, if he puts the move on the Nissan as well, on the grey Nissan in the middle, he will be up to second in the championship. So this is genuinely a battle for that championship, as we see Suganami looking up the inside. Yes, he gets the job done, does he? They're coming into a left-hander. That's going to give the advantage back to the Nissan, who makes it work down the inside. So, yeah, still as it was in GT300.
They've got to be very careful at this point, Rob, because any damage on that Leon car, any damage on that blue Nissan up in front, is going to have to carry it through the race, and they're fighting for points. Now, the Leon got in front onto the start-finish straight, but gifted Yasuda in the Gain of TANAX GTR an excellent tow down and start again up against the pit wall, and that's why the Leon Mercedes has gone right to the right-hand side of the track to try and defend that position against the Gain of TANAX GTR, who will go out in that classic Fuji Speedway manoeuvre and try and go round the outside of turn one. He won't get it done. He'll try and cut back, and he's too far back.
Nice line, nice track position there from the Leon AMG, and he's got to push hard now to keep that Realized Corporation Kondo blue Nissan GTR within reach. Here we see Sasha Fenestraz and Makino almost door-to-door now. They're back into those GT300 gaggles of traffic.
Yeah, and that's it. And they've got the right in front of the Honda there is the Toyota Prius. That Toyota Prius is the team that run it are extraordinarily close with the Tom's team and the Toyota manufacturer in particular, how they're able to get into all the various bits of code and the Toyota production cars, the Toyota Camry's hybrid systems, and be able to use them on the race car, because that is indeed a hybrid Prius racing in a GT championship. And more than once we've seen the Prius make itself slightly objectionable to non-Toyotas chasing down Toyotas in a Super GT. But I saw a great comment on the chat. So we are following the chat on YouTube here on the-race.com. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Check out all the great action coming up on the-race.com as well. I think it's Heavy something asked me, well, asked everybody in fact, why has he not been watching Super GT all year? This is fantastic. Yes, it is fantastic. I don't know why you haven't been watching it, but you can watch all of the races on demand this year here on the-race.com. So hit like, hit subscribe, join the channel, and you can watch the rest of the championship when this race is resolved. And that is some distance away yet, because look at this battle between Sasha Fenestraz and Tadasuke Makino going down the start-finish straight. They're not going to be in this position at these positions at the end of this lap, so we're just talking all the way around. Anime Matsuri from Texas cheering on Hatsune Miku live from Houston in the USA. A little bit of an update on the Good Smile Racing Team Ukyo car, running down in 35th position overall and well down the order in GT300. Not a great year for the Good Smile Racing Team Ukyo Hatsune Miku car, and I'm not entirely sure why that is.
I just had a little look at my championship table as you were chatting there, Sam, thinking Makino's pushing really well. Well, where is he in the championship? And he's another one. He's P4 in the championship. If the blue Honda that we're looking at here, as he goes down the inside of Fenestraz, great move there. So he moves up to second. Hey, Sam, if he wins the race today, they win the championship as well. He's another one of those 6 cars that are just flat out from their starting position looking for the race win. So yeah, he's moved up now into second position. So Makino in the Raybrig car really on the march, and look, he's gapped Fenestraz already.
Into the pits comes the Leon Mercedes for what must be the first of the scheduled pit stops. A little bit early, lap 22 of 65. Would have expected it in about 8 or 9 laps time, but perhaps tyres going off. They're going to try and find a way for the second driver in the car and a new set of booties and a bit more fuel in the back of that AMG car from Afterlebach in Germany. We'll try and get that advantage over the realised GTR run by Kondo Racing. So Machi Kondo himself not at the track today, I believe, after some slightly personal troubles. You know, wrong lady.
Oh, you don't want that to happen. So we see the fuel go in, we see the driver change done, and the car being released, Sam. I didn't see how many tyres they changed at that stop. One thing that I did see is look at all those Bridgestone indicators on the GT500 timing screen there. If you're not on Bridgestones, you're not having a good day, are you? The top 8 runners now in GT500 all on the Bridgestone tyre. So in these cold temperatures, as we saw in qualifying, the Bridgestone's really coming into their own.
Well, something I saw just looking down pit road there as the Mercedes pulled out, it looked like a very busy pit road. Lots of teams getting ready to service their car, bringing them in for fuel and tyres at this point. And I think you're going to start seeing, yes, we are. It's almost like we scripted that. Into the pits there for the Raybrigg NSX, the first of the front-running GT500s to come in and make that change. There'll be all 4 tyres, I suspect, set of fuel, and a new racing driver. Second half of the race. A little bit early, 43 laps to go, so not halfway yet in the race. And the first stops are coming in. If they're running out of tyre at this point, Rob, they're looking at a 2-stop strategy. However, I think they're going to try and just go for the standard 1-stop strategy. The Wacos team rookie car in as well. Quite a few guys coming in. And yeah, the pit lane is getting extremely busy in these next few laps, just looking down pit road there.
Okay, so both Hondas have taken 4 tyres. I only saw a pair of tyres being prepared for the Wacos team rookie car. So maybe the Supras are looking at just doing a quicker pit stop, changing 2 tyres. Yes, the Wacos team rookie there, as I predicted, a very quick stop, but he's only taken 2 tyres, Sam.
I didn't spot it, but the MOTUL AUTECH GTR is in as well. That'll be Sugio Matsuda taking over from Ronnie Quintarelli. Quintarelli is definitely going to be a bit frustrated with that first stint. Not quite sure what the issues are. They'll definitely be taking 4 tyres there. We also saw one of the Gainer TANAX cars coming in. GT300, just trying to see who else is there on pit road. As we see the Wacos team rookie car taking that advantage that Rob was talking about. Will that work out? It's an awfully long way to go in the race at this point on imbalanced tyres. The keeper Tom's car now in from the lead. Hirakawa getting in, so everybody's coming in at this point. I don't quite believe they're going to go for a 2-stop strategy here, but the tyre condition, the track conditions are so out of normality, we might see something a little bit unexpected.
Well, look, in the preview show, Sam, I confidently predicted a 1-stop strategy. And as we've seen season on season, year on year, I'm wrong on many, many occasions. It's a wonder I haven't been replaced a long time ago. So when I confidently predict a 1-stop strategy, that opens the door for the teams to do 2 stops, as we see our previous race leader, Yamashita, hand over to Ryo Hirakawa now. He rejoins.
Remember, no tyre warmers in Super GT, so when you see a car leaving the pits like that Red Bull Newland Honda, I think it was just coming out there, they will crawl around that opening few corners of the lap because those tyres are absolutely stone cold and they will not be able to get that grip in, that temperature in for a little while, and they are absolutely vulnerable to being mugged by cars coming up from behind them. So they have to be very, very careful on tiptoes. And in these low track temperatures, that really could be a factor. Will Sugio Matsuda in the MOTUL AUTECH GTR Nissan be a little bit more cautious on his Michelins than Ronnie Quintarelli was and try and just bring them in their temperature in a little bit more slowly so he doesn't cook them, which I'm still wondering what the problem with Quintarelli's car was, and we'll see if Sugio Matsuda can pick up the pace a little bit in that red Nissan. He is still in championship contention, but look at this. This is the effect of those cold tyres. The Leon Mercedes on hot tyres in GT300 going around the outside of the GT500 Toyota there. And as you can see them all weaving down the start-finish straight. We'll run through the race order shortly once we've got this cycle of pit stops out the way. 4 tyres there for the 36 AUTECH Supra.
It certainly does, Sam, look as if we could be coming into a 2-stop strategy, with the entire field pretty much having stopped at, what, a 3rd race distance. It could genuinely be a 2-stop strategy. It's very interesting and worthwhile to note as well, as we see the drivers rejoining. Yes, we know the tyres aren't warm. A wide, slick race tyre, like the AU Tom's car has just put on, the cold tyres produce less grip than a performance road tyre when they're cold. They're designed to work at 60 degrees or upwards. They're not designed to work at 10 degrees, which is what they'll be coming through turn 1. So he'll actually have less grip there than he would in a Supra road car. So having to be very, very tentative until they're up to temperature. How long does that take on a day like today? Well, probably a couple of laps.
Something to keep an eye on. At the top of the timing screens at the moment, you'll see is the ARTA NSX, car number 8. The car has not been to pit roads. Reason for that is they're trying something different on the strategy. Could they be going for a 1-stop, or could they just be going deep in the first stint and then have a shorter second stint? I think in these conditions, if I was Kondo Racing, Mitsunori Takaboshi now up to 2nd position on your timing screen that's on the screen. On my timing screen, he's currently in 4th, so a little bit of a discrepancy. And my timing screen, having listened to me, has now updated Takaboshi's position to 2nd position, which is what I thought he was. He's sitting running 2nd on the Yokohama tyre. Now, could that Yokohama tyre go deeper into the first stint? Hand over, single stop, hand over to somebody who's used to very cold, cloudy, overcast and slightly less than lovely weather in Wales, Jan Mardenborough.
Wow, it could be a defining move from the Yokohama runners to put a massively hard compound on and just do a single stop if those Bridgestone runners have gambled for a much softer compound and going for a double stop strategy. It's going to be fascinating to see how this unwinds as we follow the Wacos team rookie car down into turn 1, and we're in that situation now when with the cars that have stopped, Sam. Wacos Supra leads Keeper Tom's Supra. Either of those ones wins the race, they win the championship.
Exactly. Well, the question mark about whether the ARTA car on the Bridgestone tyres is going to go long and going deep and trying to run a different strategy. The answer is no, because I can see the pit crew out in the pit lane. They will be coming in momentarily to change the tyres and change the driver, give it a bit of fuel. So Mitsunori Takaboshi, I was going to say, would take the lead, but he doesn't, because he's followed, the Kondo Racing GTR has followed in that Honda. So that Yokohama strategy we were just promoting wouldn't have made a difference. And it looked like Takaboshi had got past the ARTA car, and then sort of he was caught napping on the way into pit lane. And the speed these cars come down pit lane at Fuji Speedway, those barriers are incredibly close, but the pit lane limiter line is quite far back, and there's a little kink in the pit lane which the teams take flat out. And oh my word, when you go past it in a GT500 car, it is very close indeed.
It was Takaboshi's lookalike coming into the pit, Sam. It was the Realize GT300 little brother of Takaboshi. So that was GT500 on 300 coming into the pit lane.
That's why my timing screen didn't make any sense. Right, so to correct myself, not for the first time, or indeed the last time, I've had to do it multiple more times in this race, let alone today. Mitsunori Takaboshi leads this race in the Yokohama shot Kondo Racing Realize GTR in a GT500. He is the only GT500 car in contention to have not visited pit road. Are the Yokohama runners there rolling the dice against the Michelin, Bridgestone and Dunlop runners in the rest of GT500? You can see that on your screen. You see the difference, and you can see the speed difference of cold tyres. And there's Hatsune Miku just wishing she wasn't there.
Yeah, Hatsune Miku, conspicuous by its absence today, Sam. Another car I was just thinking we haven't seen anything of is the Hoppy Porsche, which qualified in P11. You know, the Hoppy Porsche was there or thereabouts in qualifying. We just haven't seen it at all. So here we cut to a replay. So that was Keeper Toms on the Wacos Team rookie car coming through that final sector before the end of the lap there. So now the Keeper Toms car leads in this battle for track position. So he's moved up to second. The Wacos Team rookie car there down to third.
That's Ryo Hirakawa versus Sho Suboi. They're drivers that if you know the names of, you'll see them in Super Formula. Coming up next week here on the-race.com, live and in full from Suzuka circuit. It is the Japan Auto Federation JAF Grand Prix 2020, a double-header Super Formula race. Race on Saturday, race on Sunday. Jan Mardenborough, was that? No, that was somebody else running through the pit lane. I got a bit confused. It's Jan Mardenborough taking over from Mitsunori Takaboshi in the Kondo racing car from the lead. Let's see how the Welshman goes in these cold conditions with 38 laps to go. I think they're on a one-stop strategy. Will those Yokohama tyres last through that second stint, gain them a few places? Will the Bridgestones be able to go the distance towards the end of the race? This is far from over here on the-race.com. You're watching the finale of the 2020 Super GT season.
And isn't it mega? Jan Mardenborough climbing on board the Realise Corporation GTR in the pit lane. His distinctive purple helmet sort of highlights him. For me, you can see him quite clearly from the setup of the pit stop when he climbs in, and he'll be looking to capitalise on the track position that he's been handed by his teammate. In the GT300 category, we're looking now at our race leader, the Green Brave Saitama Toyota Supra. So we have Supras now leading both classes, GT300 and GT500, as Ryo Hirakawa has indeed taken the lead of the race. Now the Realise Corporation GTR is pitted.
Yeah, and that battle is gonna be the one to watch. Now, with the Leon Mercedes sitting ahead of the GR Supra, that's of course crucial for this championship battle. The Realise GTR, which I do wish they would paint slightly differently to the other cars. Now that is that championship battle. These two cars, while the Leon is ahead on track, it's actually almost a lap down on the Saitama Toyo Pet car. Leon Mercedes, of course, has pitted. The Saitama Toyo Pet car has not. The battle between the car that Saitama Toyo Pet car has been battling is that Subaru BRZ. Now that BRZ is in second position, just about in GT300. The car it's wheel to wheel with is again a lap down. So these are the guys who've stopped racing with the guys who haven't. And that shows you how long the pit lane loss is when you've done fuel and driver change on these cars. It's about a lap.
I think Sho Suboi in second position, Sam, might be struggling. We saw him do a quicker stop than the other cars because he only took 2 tyres, and he's fallen back into the hands of Yamamoto and Sekiguchi there very, very quickly. Ryo Hirakawa, that overtook him only a couple of laps ago, is up the road by 8 seconds. So Sho Suboi reversing back into the pack very, very quickly as we see the Saitama Toyopet Green Brave crew waiting for that GT300 race leading Supra to make his pit stop.
Now those guys doing this pit stop tomorrow, they'll be doing an oil change on somebody's Toyota Corolla or something similar in a garage somewhere in Saitama Prefecture. These are normal garage mechanics. They're not professional race mechanics in this team. And look at this, they are in championship contention, one of the most hotly contested Super GT seasons in a few years. Kawai gives way to Yoshida at lap 30 of 65. Towards half distance as the natty indicators
Sam,
side.
no tyres, no tyres.
Yeah, that is a crucial roll of the dice. Well, this battle, though, is getting very, very heated between Sho Soiboi and Naoki Yamamoto. Then adding to the pack is the AU Tom's Supra, and you have the full set of GT500 manoeuvres in those final two corners. They touch on the straight, and that was 3 cars in contact with each other. Naoki Yamamoto rather rudely gets shuffled out by those 2 Supras. They're being equally rude to each other, but I have never seen anything like that. Now, who's going to come out of this? Well, it's Naoki Yamamoto. As that bad-tempered battle comes to a conclusion, the 2 Toyotas hitting each other and the Honda flashing his lights in celebration.
Yamamoto, what a move there. 3 of the best overtakers in Super GT. Sho Soiboi, Yamamoto and Sekiguchi there, all wheel to wheel on the front straight, and they've all stumbled over that GT300 coming out the pits on cold tyres. But yeah, Yamamoto now up into 2nd position, and yeah, he's in that championship battle, so now looking to get his head down and to hunt down the keeper Tom's car ahead of him.
Just to put that little moment in context as they came out of that final corner, all 3 GT500 cars there in contact with one another at the same time at about 200 kph. That's staggering. No wonder Sasha Svenissev's eyes are quite wide.
Yeah, no, they're doing 200 kph pretty much off the corner. That was closer to sort of 230, 240, I reckon, as they passed pit entry. Coming into the pits, though, we see the Subaru BRZ. He's come in from the lead, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He's coming in for his routine 4-tyre stop. That's crucial. Well, we saw 4 tyres ready. Will the fronts get changed? The cameraman is thinking about that as well. The tyre guy is in position, so they can't change tyres when the fueling's done. The Wacos team rookie GT500 car is in.
Okay, so 2nd stop for the Wacos team rookie car. Yeah. They're now doing 4 tyres, and looks like they're taking the front clam off as well, so making an adjustment at the front end.
That's right, Sho Soiboi was losing time there, Robert pointed out. And all 4 tyres then for the Subaru as we see them doing the second set of Dunlops. So these Dunlop tyres on this Subaru are specifically designed for the GT300 BRZ. It's the only car you can have that the tyres are available. They're not commercially available. These are bespoke tyres for GT300 and for that specific car. Not quite as wild as it used to be, where you had specific tyres for each driver, but it's still pretty wild in the world of a tyre war. And the more tyre wars in motorsport, the better, if you ask me.
So that 2nd stop for Sho Soiboi is going to drop him out of contention for the championship. I said they were making an adjustment to the front clam, the actual bonnet of the car. It looked like they were taping down, so whether he's had contact in that battle that he was having with the other cars, a loose bonnet has brought the championship aspirations of the Wacos team rookie car to its knees. But yeah, the Subaru BRZ, they're moving around on its cold tyres as he rejoins.
Rob Barff, you have the same timing screen in front of you that I have in front of me. Just have a quick look in the GT500 field at who the fastest man on track in GT500 is right now. Down in 14th position.
It's the angry Welshman, isn't it?
Yeah, angry Welshman in what could be a typical Welsh summer day. He's thriving in these conditions. Jan Mardenborough, the fastest man in GT500 right now, down in 14th position in that Kondo Racing Run Nissan GTR. Really struggled all season with that car. It's never come together, but it's working very well. His lap times are still quite competitive, though the GT500 lap times are a little bit down. Ryo Hirakawa, though, out of that traffic, picking up the pace up the front. He has a bit of a gap, and he is looking right now very good for a solo championship, but we still have 32 laps to go as we just go past the half distance point here at Fuji Speedway during the finale of the 2020 Super GT Championship. You're watching live and exclusive here on the-race.com, which is normally the point I ask you to all tell me where you're watching from. But because I haven't got that bit of the computer in front of me, and I've realised I've been completely ignoring our production team for the first half of the race because we've been a bit busy, I haven't been reading their messages. So if they have been telling me what to do, I've been ignoring them.
You've been ignoring them for years, Sam.
And yes, now I remember that I've been ignoring them. Yes, there's lots of messages coming in on from the producer, so I'll work through those. And Rob, you take over from there.
Well, I'm going to take over as we look at a terrific battle in GT 500 between the AUTECH car and the CALSONIC car. For Kazumi, they're moving up on Hiramine, coming through that fast left-hander before they come down and round into turn 4. The 100R here is a terrific corner. 100R, the radius of the curve itself is 100 meters in length. As they now dive down towards that third sector, I'm trying to look ahead to see if there's any GT 300 traffic ahead of them. Meanwhile, the battle for second continues between Yamamoto and Sekiguchi. Remember, these were 2 of the cars out of the 3 that we saw touch on the front straight a few laps ago, but Yamamoto desperately trying to claw that gap down to the Keeper Tom's car, to Ryo Hirakawa at the head of the field. Hirakawa currently leads the championship by the 1 single point he got for pole position, but he's in that group of 6 cars, well, down to 5 now. We've counted out Sho Suboi, who, if they win the race, can win the championship. But as it was, they're as they were a lap ago coming through turn 1. Yamamoto leads from Sekiguchi, P2 from P3, Sam.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I've now found all the things that I should have been saying, but I'm going to stay with this battle right now because it's exciting. But they're going to be making that move as the AUTECH NSX gets the move done on the CALSONIC GTR into the first corner, but that's not done. The Aston Martin's in the well. Will the CALSONIC be able to come back at that Honda? Orange jacket will be happy if it does. If it doesn't, but then the Saabs, the recovering Saab Supra, going past there, the Modulo NSX, which has been struggling as well further down the order. But I was saying, coming up later today, of course, on the-race.com is all the reaction to the Formula 1 at Bahrain Grand Prix. It's looking like it's going to be quite a thriller later today. Then there's live esports action tomorrow in R Factor 2 as the GT Challenge Series continues. Coming soon, though, on this channel. Don't forget, hit like and subscribe. We'll have the Super Formula double header for the JAF Grand Prix from Suzuka next weekend. RJ O'Connell pointed out that his favourite obscure Super GT car, and I think he's really nailed it, in JGTC 1994, the Rosso Competizione Lancia 037. I think you can't go any better as we see the real-time championship standings in a GT 500. Ryo Hirakawa right now at the wheel of that number 37 Keeper Tom's car, looking extremely good in terms of points. Then we had a... Go on.
Sam, I was just going to say he's looking extremely fast as well. He's the thick end of a second a lap quicker than the chasing pack behind him. So Ryo Hirakawa not only in a dominant championship position, but pulling away from the cars behind him as well at a crucial time.
Just looking at some of the comments that have come into the chat, which I've entirely ignored as well. Apologies for that. People like your insight on the tyres, Rob. So very good. That's the Wacos team rookie car heading to pit lane again. So I think that's the end of that car having any competitive chance. I don't know what the problem is with it, but it's not a happy car. And I'm not sure the driver then knew the car was coming in. That was the eye reaction of, hey, wait a minute, what? Remind me, in fact, the team didn't know the car was coming in. That reminds me of Anthony Davidson coming in and sitting outside the pit garage waiting for the team to react, and then they noticed themselves on telly. We'll see what goes on with that car, but it looks like the end of the race. Did he get contact with the AU Tom's car?
Yeah, this was where Yamamoto dived down the inside. So yes, that was where the bonnet was dislodged in the contact at turn 1 with Sekiguchi. And then look at Yamamoto in the Ray Brig car, just stole a march and nipped down the inside of them. And yeah, that contact is the end of one of the 6 cars. That car there was in contention for the championship, as we see it being wheeled on its dollies back into the box.
That looked to me like a broken suspension, actually, a really heavy hit on the side of the car. I wonder if the AU Tom's car got away unscathed. I can't believe it would have done. Meanwhile, questions coming in on the chat. Benjamin Brockway asks, is this the last race of the season? Yes, it is in Super GT. But will you have these live streams next season? Well, hit like, hit subscribe, join the channel, and you'll know as soon as we do. We're certainly talking to GTA about bringing you Super GT next season, but we haven't finished with Super Formula yet. We've got 3 more races in Super Formula to come, and a lot more action coming on the channel. So hit like and subscribe, and that will be coming up. And the questions coming in about the Prius. If the Toyota Prius, this is coming from Classy Fen, if the Toyota Prius is a hybrid, are fully electric cars allowed to race in this championship? Yes, but a fully electric car covering 300 kilometers at this pace, well, there isn't one out there that exists at the moment without a hot swapped battery. I wouldn't imagine that GTA would rule it out. If you've seen DTM Electric, they're not quick enough to compete with these GT500 cars, which are old school LMP1 fast. Studio VRM joined the channel and said, we're brutal, Rob. WEC will punish drivers for wheel spin in the pit lane. Maybe we'll like, if you don't do a smoky drift off your pit box, you don't deserve a trophy approach. I agree with that. I think smoky departure from a pit box is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of smoky box departure and the anti-lag valves which these 4-cylinder turbocharged engines run. They sound like an old WRC car when they're off the throttle. The way the fuel is pumped into the turbo to keep it spooled up, they crackle and bang. They sound amazing, as we see Sekiguchi there diving up the inside of the little GT86 GT300 car there.
Just a comment coming in about how great David Addison is commentating on this. I don't know if I'm David Addison or you're David Addison. Last time I checked, I was Sam Collins and you were Rob Barff. But there you go. Just following through the comments. And one question for you, Rob, from Classy Fen, who's asking all the right questions today, as we just watched this battle in GT300. This is the second position car, and that is, he's probably going to be a little bit shocked looking into his rearview mirror and seeing the realised GTR, what he thinks is championship rival, but then he'll notice those white headlights. It's the GT500 version, and that's the angry Welshman behind the wheel. And Classy Fen asks you, Rob, why can't you fuel the car and change tyres at the same time? Formula 1 used to do that.
Well, it's neither healthy nor safe, Classy Fen. You're allowed to either change tyres or put fuel in. So one thing you are allowed to do whilst you refuel is change driver. So if the crew take 4 tyres, you normally see the car come to a stop. They'll do a pair of tyres whilst the driver change starts. As soon as the rear tyres are done, the fuel man will go in. When he's done, then they'll change the front tyre. So it just means there's less rushing around the car. So yeah, just purely down to health and safety. Very dull, really.
So looking at the pit strategy in GT300 as the Cintium RCF heads to pit road, the run-up GTR leads the class at the moment. However, they haven't come to pit road and are due a pit stop. Green Brave Supra is leading on the road because, well, leading in terms of strategy because they haven't made a pit stop. And the Kenwood sponsored NSX has also not stopped. They're trying to do the opposite of the strategy. The safety car came out as it has done in the last 2 races. They didn't want to lose out in terms of track position, as we've seen so brutally hammered some cars and gifted the MOTUL AUTECH GTR a win earlier in the season. Meanwhile, Naoki Yamamoto second position, Yuki Sekiguchi in third in a GT500. Ryo Hirakawa, though, in the 37 keeper Tom's car, 16.3 seconds into the lead. I wonder how Nick Cassidy is feeling right now. Probably sitting in a hotel somewhere in Valencia watching this and seeing his teammate leading the race and being well on course for the championship. There's a Nick Cassidy sticker on the outside of that car as the Wed Sports Bando Racing Supra comes in for a stop. That's his second stop, I believe. There is the NSX that hadn't stopped in GT300. We expected a stop from them, and that 40 out of 65 is where we expected. We'll see how it feeds back in.
Whilst you wait for your reply off Nick Cassidy, Sam, can I suggest he's feeling stoic? Would that be correct?
The Kiwis do stoic. Something to keep an eye on, though, as our producer Aid has just pointed out, and I'm now paying attention to him after being a naughty boy for the first half of the race. The top 7 cars all on Bridgestone tyres. Bridgestone is winning today at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a terrific performance from the Bridgestone manufacturer. They've delivered a tyre that has obviously given optimal grip in these much lower temperatures than we've seen on previous trips to Fuji over the course of the season. Just a reminder, we're looking at an air temperature of sub 10 degrees and a track temperature of about 14 to 15, I would imagine now.
It's actually a little bit warmer than the early weather forecast predicted. At some points we were worried that it was going to be as low as 2 degrees centigrade at this circuit. I've been at Fuji Festival. All of us involved in this production have been at Fuji Speedway in mid-December, and I can tell you it is not a warm place to be. Foothill on the foot of Mount Fuji, Japan's tallest mountain and an active volcano, as on those cold tyres goes around the Wed Sports Bando Advan GR Supra driven by Miyata. And that's a little bit embarrassing as a racing driver when that happens.
Yeah, just dropping it on cold tyres. It does happen, particularly if he was offline making a move in traffic. We just saw the car recover there. But yeah, obviously pushing very, very hard in his outlap. And as I said earlier in the race, these cold slicks provide less grip than a road tyre. And it's a very fine line between being on the edge and being over the edge.
Absolutely. And this battle, speaking of being on the edge and over the edge, between Ishiura, he's trying to get over the edge into Prius corner, and that was a neat move there by the Zen Tsurumo Supra, going round the outside of Fukuzumi in the Arta NSX. Fukuzumi isn't going to forgive himself for that, but he looks like he's struggling for grip actually in the orange and black NSX GT500 there.
Yeah, the way the Zent car went round the outside of him at turn 10, brilliant overtake, really clean. I actually thought it was a fairly speculative move, the way he positioned himself on the way in, but yeah, rolled off the brakes, kept the minimum speed right up and went the long way around the outside and took the inside for turn 11. So brilliant move from the Zent car to make the move successfully and without any contact at all on the Honda as well.
Exactly. We've been watching GT500 quite intently for the last few laps. I think we need to take a look back at the GT300 battle, because I'm seeing the pit crew, and there you can see confirmation on your screen that the Run-Up Sports GTR, who was leading the GT300 series, or GT300 race, has come into the pits, and that has handed the lead back to Yoshida in the Saitama Toyo Pet GB GR Supra GT. I don't actually know what the GB in that stands for, but it's one of their sponsors and it's usually all over the car.
Green Brave, Sam.
What's it? I did know what it stands for. It's written all over the car. The Supra now leading the GT300 field. The Leon Mercedes, there he is in second position. Gamu at the wheel of that in a massive cluster of traffic. Then, having fallen back, the Advix Lutta Inging run MC86, which has been strong all race long. We haven't really spoken about car number 6. The black and gold Toyota is in third position. And then JP Oliveira is down in fourth position in the Yokohama Shod Kondo Racing run Nissan GTR. How that leaves the championship standings, I'm not entirely sure.
We need our graphics man again.
I know. There he is. Look. It's like I knew he was coming. And there you go. The Leon Mercedes is topping the championship in real time. JP Oliveira and Fujinami in second position, just 2 points behind them. And then the Green Brave crew in number 50, car 52, just on 62 points. They can't improve their number of points because they're leading the race at the moment. The two cars behind, well, the Leon Mercedes, he can't improve too much unless he catches up with that Green Brave car. 34-second gap between them, so that's going to be a bit of an ask. However, JP Oliveira is just 11 seconds, I believe, behind the Advix MC86. There he is. Now, if he can get onto the back of the MC86, he will be able to find some of those points he needs to get back into the championship lead. With just about 21 laps to go, 22 laps to go, which is far from done in a GT300. And I have to say, Rob, what perfectly well-timed television direction.
Yeah, you're welcome. I was actually just thinking, as you were talking about the championship connotations there in GT300, how many more times they're going to get lapped. I reckon they're going to get lapped at least once. So currently, as it stands, we've got 21 laps remaining for the GT500 cars. I reckon we've got probably 20 laps, maybe 19 laps remaining now for the GT300 runners. And of interest is going to be that gap that we're looking at now between JP Oliveira coming onto the front straight and the Advix 86 ahead of him. That's what he needs to cut down.
That's exactly right. That is the story of the race right now. Just for those of you on the social media, whatever that is, and on the interweb net, don't forget to visit the-race.com. Don't forget the hyphen. Head to the-race.com for the best motorsport coverage on the internet web. In-depth coverage of Formula 1, MotoGP, Formula E, IndyCar, and racing esports. And if you are on the social medias, check out and follow at We Are The Race on Twitter and the Instagram, and probably some other sorts of things that I haven't heard of for all your motorsport news and reaction. Talking of social media, of course, you can also follow our incredible series producer, Aid Holbrook, on Instagram and Twitter. His name is at Aid Holbrook, and on one of those channels, he takes his clothes off on a regular basis.
Wow, things you didn't think you were going to hear on the Super GT coverage from the Fuji Motor Speedway. Not wishing to sort of sound like we're begging for likes and subscribes, but please, Sam and I always dangle by a very fine thread. Our unprofessional commentary here, this could be the last round we ever do, and our bosses are always looking at the numbers of thumbs up, the numbers of hearts, the numbers of likes. So if you are enjoying our commentary, please let us know. Sam's going to very shortly read out the list of places that you're watching from. Great to know you're there in all corners of the world. And just please click like, click subscribe, let us know you're loving Super GT as much as we do, and hopefully we'll be here for you in 2021. But click like, click subscribe, keep Sam and I in a job.
Absolutely, Rob. Thank you for setting me up like that. With lap 45 of 65 races, 65 laps here at Fuji Speedway. We have viewers here for Super GT from all around the world, from Nova Scotia in Canada, from Mississippi, from Australia, from Monza, Italy. Hello, say hello to Marta Katza when you go through there at the newsstand. San Diego, California, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Tucson, Arizona, Las Vegas, Jamaica, Uruguay, Colorado, Pittsburgh, USA, the Netherlands, New Jersey, Washington State, Mauritius, Delaware in the US. They finished counting their election votes yet. Thailand, Frisco in Texas, Germany, Malaysia, Vienna, Austria, Indonesia, a very small room in the UK, Oxford, UK, Seattle, Wisconsin, I can never pronounce it, Curitiba in Brazil, China, Ontario, Canada, Greenville, South Carolina, as a great battle in GT300 is going on, Spain, Malaysia, Edison, New Jersey, USA, the Philippines, El Salvador, Orlando, Argentina, Hale, Cornwall, Florida, Brazil, Hitchin, Hertfordshire, and I believe a hotel in Valencia.
Yeah, the hotel in Valencia will have been holding his breath there for a moment. Ryo Hirakawa came across some sort of comedy GT300 rolling roadblock and was left with absolutely nowhere to go. So his last lap time will have been held up somewhat, but Ryo Hirakawa still leads as we see now, 18 laps to go. Well, we'll be at the end of this lap.
I love it when you all post your locations in the chat, because we will read them all out, and the producer will supply me with every single one of those, your posts in the list, and we'll read them out, if not during the race, at the end of the race, and say thank you all personally for watching. So the producer will compile that list for us, and he loves doing it so much. Well, the Subaru BRZ, they're down in 6th position. Let's see what happened there, because that is the Advix Muta 86. No, sorry, it's a Subaru BRZ, based on the same production car, but a completely different rulebook, getting around and battling with the Gainer TANAX GTR in GT300, and just getting the move done and working his way up the field. Not going to trouble the top of the championship at the moment.
Well, it has connotations, though, Sam, for the Gainer TANAX car. The 11 car there was third in the championship. So by losing a position, he's going to lose a couple of valuable points. And as we saw a moment ago at the top of the championship, there's probably only going to be 6 or 7 points covering the top 3 cars, so every point matters. And now he's moved down another position. That's moved him further out of contention, moving from third in the championship, possibly down to 4th, maybe even 5th by the end.
Toshiki Oyu at the wheel of the Arta NSX in GT300, GTFI GT3 specification Honda NSX there. Oyu being a little bit controversial this season in Super Formula, has had a few first corner moments, and he's certainly not on Sasha Fenestraz's Christmas card list. In GT300, I did just see a little note, and I didn't see the reasoning why, is the 360 run-up sports car had a moral hazard penalty. And he's had to make a drive-through as a result. Not sure what that was about. We didn't see a replay, but that car is not in the running anymore, having fallen right down the field. But in GT300, we have the Saitama Toyopet Green Brave Supra at the top of the table with a decent advantage over the K2 R&D Leon Racing AMG GT in 2nd position. 3rd position is Kazuoto Kotaka in the Advix Muta Racing MC86 run by Inging. JP Oliveira in 4th position in the Kondo Racing run at Nissan. He needs to catch up to the back of that MC86. Right now, he's 7.5 seconds behind, but taking time out of the MC86. So we are going to see in these closing laps a battle for 3rd in GT300, which could very quickly evolve into a battle for the championship, because just up the road ahead of the Advix MC86 is Gamu in the K2 R&D Leon Racing Mercedes. This championship is going to be decided in a battle on track. Meanwhile, Tsugo Matsuda in the MOTUL AUTECH GTR. Well, this race started brilliantly for the Nismo team and is ended with more of a whimper by the look of it. Lap 49 of 65, and they're down in 9th. That is not going to be where they wanted to end this race. I think, looking at this, they are out of contention in GT500, and a little bit of an indication of how far the Nismo car has fallen. Jan Mardenborough, who started at the back of the grid, is sitting just behind him. I think there's a lap between them, but that has not gone well for the MOTUL AUTECH team in at GT500. Bad luck for them. Always a good group of guys, and we worked with them for many years here on this channel in a previous identity, and it's good to see them doing well, and it's sad to see them not doing so well.
Yeah, Sugio Matsuda's lacking about 2.5 to 3 seconds a lap on the leaders pace-wise, and yeah, is visibly really struggling. Look at that last lap, a 35.9 sound. And when you think that the leaders are doing, what, 31s, 32s?
Yeah, that is it. That is, there's some big gaps through the field now. But yeah, I mean, GEO is in the 31s at the moment, as is Ukyo Sasahara in the Red Bull Mugen Honda. But he's right in the back of the field, has had a bit of a shocker of a race. We haven't talked about him. But the field spread is coming out. The Keihin car of Kudai Sukoshi struggling a little bit for pace at the moment. And the Modulo Nakajima crew are in pit lane for a stop. Not sure why. The Dunlop's given up the ghost, or are they actually going for this two-stop strategy, which we have been talking about? This is actually could be a key to the race now. The keeper Tom Supra there, you can see, is being hunted down. You were talking about it by Naoki Yamamoto, but there's a car, the 64 car, in for a new set of Dunlops. This looks like a routine planned two-stop strategy.
It is. It's just a straight tyre change, no fuel, no driver change, so just a stop for a second set of tyres, Sam.
And that could send an indication that some of these cars, because those lap times, as you said, have dropped off from by about 3 or 4 seconds now from the fastest laps earlier in the race. They have dropped off to about 33 seconds now. There's 15 laps left. The lap times are dropping because of the lighter fuel loads.
This is exciting, isn't it? This is great.
Yeah, I mean, Ryo Hirakawa, his last lap was a 33.7. That's really slow. And, well, there's your real-time championship in GT500, and Hirakawa is looking good. But if he comes to pit road and Yamamoto and Makino don't, that could play a massive difference, because whilst Naoki Yamamoto is 12 seconds ahead, he is taking chunks of time out of the race leader. The tyres, I think, on the Team Tom's car are giving up.
Yamamoto only knows one speed, as we know, Sam, as well. And if he gets a sniff of not only the race win, but the championship as well, he is going to be absolutely flat out in his quest to catch the race leader. There we see lights ablaze coming down into turn 3. He is pushing as hard as he can to close that gap down now. He'll have been told on the radio that the race leader perhaps is struggling with his tyres. So yeah, if he needed an excuse, and not that having Sekiguchi behind him isn't enough of a G up, yeah, Yamamoto pushing as hard as he can now.
It's a great time in motorsport broadcasting when the production team are trolling the commentators more than those in the chat. As Rob Barff wonders what's going on. Look at the air temp, 10 degrees centigrade, track temp, 10 degrees centigrade. That is too cold for these tyres, and I think that's the effect we're seeing at the front of the field. We're seeing a lot of cars now coming back to pit road and coming in for new tyres. They aren't making these tyres work. It's a bit too cold. And I think they're just moving, the cars are moving around too much, and it's killing the surface of the tyre, because these lap times are going out quite far now. The fastest lap of the race that I have seen was set by the number 37 Keeper Tom's car at 29.009. Current laps they're all doing, and the Keeper Tom's car is doing, is a 33.2. So a massive lap time difference there. And there are cars that are able to go quicker. Ritomo Miata in the Wedsport Bando car is over a second a lap quicker than Hirakawa at the moment, even though they're not directly racing each other. Whereas these two definitely are. As Chio, the Australian driver, gets up the inside, will he get the run all the way down to the start-finish line?
Yeah, Chio, as you said a few laps ago, who we haven't really seen, is another one of those drivers who's just been pushing, and yeah, he's is he going to lead on the timing screen? I don't think he is, but it's going to be a battle for the last of the late breakers into turn 1. And Chio looks like he's got it done. Little lockup from the rears. And yeah, he makes the move coming into turn 1. So Chio, with his rear wheels locked them, successfully moves from 7th up into 6th. Great move.
Well, this is brilliant racing action. We've talked about Nick Cassidy, who'll be watching from the hotel in Spain. And the question's coming in, will he be in the Super Formula cockpit next week for the JAF Grand Prix? My understanding is that he is going to be. However, I'm not quite sure how he's going to make that work with the flights and quarantines and things like that when he gets back from Spain to Japan, but my understanding he's due in that cockpit. Nick's, I'm sure, listening in, so he can join the chat and join the channel and hit like and subscribe, like all of you should have done, and let us know what's going on. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you from AWD, All Wheel Drive, for joining the channel, and it's great to have you. And Thomas Backman as well. Go Raybrigg, title in final season. That would be a fitting end to Raybrigg's involvement in Super GT and in, well, existence. It's the light bulb company. Their owners have decided to discontinue that brand for whatever reason, which will probably be done.
The gap at the head of the field is continuing to come down. It was 15 seconds, it was 13 seconds, down to just 11.8 now. So Yamamoto continuing to hunt down Hirakawa as we look at the lap counter coming down and down and down. This man, JP Oliveira, as well, is being held up at the moment behind the Cintium Lotus. Is it a Cintium Lotus? Petronas. So yeah, they've just let him pass. So yeah, he's lost a little bit of time there in his pursuit of the AMG and the MC86 ahead of him.
Well, it's the MC86 there, Rob. You'll see it at the bottom of your screen as we watch this blue and white realised Nissan work its way around Fuji Speedway. You can see there, just at the top of your screen, that gold and black MC86 team run by Team Inging. Now, if JP Oliveira can get past that mother chassis car, he will move back into the championship lead, I believe. That's what the man in the timing tower is indicating to me anyway. Here we go. Thank you. As he brings that up. I love how they're listening to us for once. Fujinami and JP Oliveira are on 64 points. They need to make that position to get up, and I think then we will see the two tied on points, though I'm not entirely convinced of that. It may be 1 point between them, but JP Oliveira is closing rapidly onto the back of the Inging GT86, but the GT86 is beginning to home in on the back of the Leon Mercedes. 54, this is lap 54 of 65 for the GT500 cars, 12 laps for them to go. However, the GT300 cars just race as long as the GT500 cars take to get those 12 laps completed. So they do need to get a move on. There is that gap between the 86 and the GTR. It looks like it's stagnant, but it's really not. It's been consistently coming down. That's just a factor of the traffic in the series. As a big thank you must go to Arturo de Leon. I wonder who he wants to see take victory in this event. Good to Fujinami though. He's very keen to see a Mercedes take it.
Sam, do you have your safety car button handy?
I always have a safety car button handy. What are we looking for?
I was just thinking, if you can press the safety car button now, it would take a couple of laps to shuffle the pack around, and then we'd have an 8-lap sprint race on well-used tyres in freezing cold conditions for both championships. That would be quite cool.
That would be quite cool, actually. It'd be a bit like NASCAR overtime. That would be quite good fun. I don't think we're going to get a safety car, but you never know in Super GT, because whatever happens next in Super GT, it's almost certainly not what you expected to happen. Matt Wilson, thank you very much for joining the channel, and we hope to be able to bring you lots more action from Japan. So it'd be quite nice to be able to get to Japan and not have a plane ticket sat in front of me for March.
Matt Wilson, generous donation when he joined the channel as well. So big thanks to Matt, to everybody else who's donated to us this morning. Fantastic to see JP Oliveira pushing so hard to just gain every opportunity of track position. Every point matters, and yet he's right on the back of the Toyota Prius now as he's coming into turn 7, throws it up the inside of the Prius and right on the back of the MC86 now.
This is crucial for the championship. You just saw the GT500 ATA car coming through. Fujinami knows that he's got a chance of winning this championship from his deck chair there, but it's just a bizarre situation in motorsport. 10 laps to go, and this is the battle on track that matters. In GT500, Ryo Hirakawa is 7 seconds ahead of Naoki Yamamoto. Yamamoto is significantly faster than Ryo Hirakawa in the keeper Tom's Supra, and he's closing the gap quite quickly. But we're going to stick with this battle in GT300 because it's the one that's more likely to get the man in the timing tower typing quite quickly, imminently, because there is that MC86, that golden black Team Engine car, and well, not quite in the tow, but coming into the tow zone will be JP Oliveira, and he is good at overtaking. I think he will make relatively quick work of the 86, but there in front, he can see his troop ray, the Leon Mercedes, and I think we're going to get a wheel-to-wheel battle on track for the championship in the final laps of this race.
And you've got to say, Sam, looking at what we've seen of JP Oliveira, his performance in the Realised Corporation Kondo Run GT300 car this season, he's been massively aggressive. He's pushed very, very hard, and you've got to put your money on him, even though he's in that chase position with 10 to go, which I think will be 9 for the GT300 runners once they've been lapped another time by our leaders. Yeah, your money has to be on the blue Nissan there rather than the black AMG, which we've just seen flash through the bottom of our screen though. But Ryo Hirakawa, out of our shot, has lost another second. That gap, which was 13 5 laps ago, now down to 6.5.
And no real challenge offered by the MC86 to JP Oliveira, who just drifts past the CALSONIC GTR in GT500, slips past JP Oliveira, but no challenge really offered by the MC86 to JP Oliveira. Man in timing tower needs to make new graphics soon, so we can see what the updated points are. I think by my calculations, there's 1 point in it, and well, there's a big cheer from the Kondo Racing pit, and that's Fujinami will be wanting to see that car working its way up. Now the Leon Mercedes seems to be losing time a little bit. You can see it just going out of your shot there. The Realised GTR is hunting him down. 9 laps to go. Well, speaking of those 9 laps to go, roughly 1 second a lap quicker than Ryo Hirakawa is Naoki Yamamoto. The gap is 5.6 seconds at the front of the field. Graphics Tower Man has done it. Yes, it's 1 point in it at the top of the championship. JP Oliveira now driving these final laps of the Super GT 2020 season finale. He's driving for a championship, but so is this man, Naoki Yamamoto. You can see it on your screen there now, down from 11 seconds to 5.6 seconds as he crosses the stripe. There's the battle for the lead of the race and the championship of 2020. We have battles for the lead in both categories. The faster car is in second position in both categories, and they're both on course. There's battle forecast, if this was a different championship, are both forecast to catch before the end of the race. Stay tuned to Super GT here on The Race, because this is going to be a sensational finish to the 2020 season.
A sensational finish to a sensational championship, Sam. The racing today has been amazing, and the performance of this man and his teammate in the Kunimitsu NSX has been fantastic, and for the first time we see Ryo Hirakawa really starting to struggle there through the slower sections of turns 11, 12 and 13. The car moving around, not showing that same sort of confident body language as it was 7 or 8 laps ago, and that's the gap in real time now. There's only a couple of lapped cars between them, and the gap, I would say, yeah, down to sub 5 seconds now from, as I mentioned a moment ago, from 13 after the pit stops. 8 laps to go. He's going to catch him, Sam.
Yeah, they're all going to catch. The TV director's going to have a very difficult job right now, because both battles are being absolutely joined at the same time. 4.6 seconds now between Naoki Yamamoto and Ryo Hirakawa. Meanwhile, back in GT300, the gap between JP Oliveira and Gamu in the Leon Mercedes is just 1.3 seconds. The GT300 catch is going to come first, but not they're going to be on each other straight away. These battles are going to be happening concurrently, and it's great fun. Brandon Milne, thanks for joining us, and he says he'd take a coffee right now. Whew. You don't need a caffeine to keep the excitement going here. And this is the battle, and this is that excitement that the catch has been made. JP Oliveira on the back of Gamu. This is the fight for the 2020 championship and second position in the race. It's Nissan versus Mercedes, both GT3 specification cars. It is going to be interesting to see how Oliveira manages to do this and whether the Leon Mercedes has any reply. It's Bridgestone versus Yokohama, and the Yokohama shot Nissan has got the run down the start-finish straight. Rob, he's going to go round the outside and get him done before the first corner.
Yeah, JP Oliveira has certainly got the legs on Gamu there, and I think knowing how the two drivers drive, they're just going to wait for the other to break into turn one. But JP Oliveira does hold the advantage as they come through the clipping point, and he's got the power down nicely and takes that second position. So consolidates his championship lead. JP Oliveira up into second. The team are absolutely delighted. I think there's going to be tears there soon, Sam. Not only from the commentary box, but from the pit box as well. So JP Oliveira up to second, Gamu down to third.
Well, don't forget to hold the seats if you're the sides of your seats if you're in the main grandstand, or if you are watching at home and you are sitting on a Valencia hotel bed. There is the battle for the lead of the race and indeed the championship in GT 500. The keeper Tom Supra is leading the race, but he is losing time. The gap to Naoki Yamamoto down to 3.9 seconds. There's 6 laps to go, and he's going to get it done. They're going to catch before the end of the race, but will they be able to pass? It could even be on the final lap that this is going to happen. Rob, this is the very definition of pressure for a racing driver.
I use the word mega far too much when I talk about Super GT, and this is just mega. Look at the gap coming down and down and down, and Yamamoto can now sniff the back of Ryo Hirakawa's car. He can see it, he's close enough now, and he's only got that one. See, I told you there'd be tears in the pit box. Oh, and right on cue, they stream down her pretty little cheek. This is Yamamoto at his finest, pushing hard now for the win.
Dibas asked, what anime teams like Hatsune Miku have there been in Super GT? Don't call a Vocaloid anime, she gets very upset. They're Itasha cars, which means painfully embarrassing. There have been a number over the years, but we haven't got time to go through them all at this point in the race. But Blinky XX, I'm sure on Super GT World will probably have a gallery available that he can link to, showing. He's in the chat, I know that, because he always is. And,
I get the feeling there'll be a certain ex-Formula One world champion somewhere in the world sitting on the edge of his bed shouting, "Come on, Naoki!"
Yeah, he certainly will be. And Yamamoto's chase has been blunted ever so slightly. He is the gap is hovered around that 3.1 seconds for a little while. He was taking a second a lap a little while ago. It's now less than a second a lap. He's taking out of that keeper, the keeper Tom Supra for the lead, but the keeper Tom Supra is now beginning to find some traffic. Look at this though, that tells a story. The keeper Tom Supra coming to put a lap on the MOTUL AUTECH GTR, which led the race on the opening few laps and was opening a gap over that car. So the Nissan there, that Nismo team, are going to have a very long think about today's race when they get back to their base in Yokohama, because they've lost the lead lap when they led the race early on. 2.3 seconds. 2.3 seconds now. As you've got sector 2, you got 2.5. I've just popped up on our real-time timing of 2.3 seconds is now the gap. It's coming down. You'll see Yamamoto there. You can see what could happen next. The end of next lap is the Sugio Matsuda is going to get in the tow of the struggling Toyota, and that's going to give a double tow to Yamamoto, who's just trying to make his presence known to Sugio Matsuda. Sugio, I know he knows you. He knows you're there. Just get the job done.
I was just going to say that was a lovely bit of driving from Hirakawa through the final sector there. He came across two GT500s and one GT500, a pair of GT300s, and cut quickly past them. He can't afford to be held up at anywhere, let alone the final couple of back-to-back hairpins, as we see Yamamoto there sliding up the inside of the hoppy Porsche.
Well, I do wonder if Nick Cassidy or Jensen Button is going to slide into the chat here on the-race.com. I know they're both tuned in. That casual guy is saying that everybody in Twitter is talking about boxing. I thought they were talking about boxers and the Subaru, but that's not really in contention in this race because we're focused on the 4-cylinder turbocharged inline 4 2-litre engines in these GT500 cars. There is the GT300 car that has lost its championship contention to the realised Nissan, which you'll see has disappeared off into the distance. Actually, the Leon Mercedes really falling back now. But look at the gap. There is the Honda. There is the Toyota. Just a couple of GT300 cars in between them, including the GT300 points leader, JP Oliveira, who'll just be encountering the lead battle, the battle for the championship. There are your 2 points leaders, in fact, on track as things stand now. GT500 and GT300, but that's all set to change. 3 laps to go, and there are 2 seconds in it.
Wow, look at that. So we have our leader, then the GT300 championship leader, then Yamamoto currently in second. Round the outside, he cuts past at the long turn 5-6, coming into the hairpin now at 7. Clean air between him and the race leader, Sam, for the first time.
Yeah, we'll see what effect that has on the sector times. I'm watching those sector times as they come in to see what those gaps are. That graphic hopefully is going to stay on the bottom right of your screen. You don't need to worry what the points are at the moment. It's just which of these 2 cars come home first. Will it be Ryo Hirakawa in the number 37 keeper Tom Supra, or will it be Naoki Yamamoto in the Team Kunimitsu Raybrig NSX, wanting to sign off Raybrig's long involvement in this championship with a final win and a final championship? This is it. 2 laps to go coming up, the start of the penultimate 2 laps, and well, the gap has actually gone out ever so slightly, 2.4 seconds as they go through the real-time timing beam just on the exit of that final corner. Hirakawa is just finding a little bit of life in the wheels and tyres of that Tom's Supra, a 130.8. I think he's got everything in that cockpit turned up to maximum. One question in my mind, does he have enough fuel to make it to the end?
Yeah, did anybody gamble on a safety car? This is the 2nd race in succession where we haven't seen a safety car. So, yeah, amazing. What a race. I was thinking at the start, 65 laps, this could be quite a long race. Bang! What seems like 15 minutes ago. Looking at the little lap graphic there, 2 laps to go. An unbelievable conclusion to our season, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better battle in GT500, and we couldn't have asked for a better battle in GT300. I mean, this race that has just flown by watching it. No safety cars. It's been a green run all the way through. And look at this battle. Hirakawa is just maintaining that gap back to Naoki Yamamoto on these final 2 laps. Yamamoto needs to find something more in the cockpit of that NSX to be able to get onto terms with the Supra. He's done a fantastic job of hunting down his prey, but the gap is sitting with on the final lap at 2.7 seconds. Unless something goes terribly badly wrong for Ryo Hirakawa, the keeper Tom's Supra and Hirakawa are going to take this 2020 Super GT Championship over this final lap at Fuji Speedway. It's going to be triumph and heartbreak for somebody, but who's it going to be?
2.8 miles to decide it, and again clean air between the 2 cars. Has Ryo Kawa got enough just to cling on? My money was on Yamamoto 4 or 5 laps ago, but looking at the way the gap has stabilized and then just stretched ever so slightly, my money swings back now towards Ryo Hirakawa as he makes a move around the AMG there, coming through turns 5-6.
That AMG could be crucial, because if Yamamoto catches him at the wrong point of track in the middle sector, which he's going to, that could scotch all of Yamamoto and Team Raybrig's, Team Kunimitsu's championship hopes. It's going to be extremely fast. There goes Yamamoto past the Mercedes. The gap is opening up ever so slightly, but Yamamoto is pumped in a fantastic middle sector there, a 27.7, but he's not close enough. It's not going to get it done through the final sector. Ryo Hirakawa.
No, he's not close enough.
Ryo Hirakawa driving through now the final few corners of Fuji Speedway, and rounding out the 2020 Super GT Championship with not only what
He's
looks
out of
like
fuel,
he's run out of fuel. He's run out of fuel on the line.
Wow!
Unbelievable.
Yamamoto.
Oh my word, that is the championship. Naoki Yamamoto and Team Kunamitsu win the race and the 2020 Super GT Championship on the final corner after Ryo Hirakawa and the keeper Team Tom Supra runs out of fuel on the finish line. JP Oliveira in the Realized GTR in GT300 crosses the line in second position in that class and takes the championship win there as well. Now stay tuned to us. We will bring you all of the post-race interviews, championship celebrations, and the championship heartbreak. Wow.
Sam, I jumped over you at the end there. I was on my knees in my office. Wow, I saw the Supra stagger off the last corner, and that only means one thing. It means he's run out of fuel, and these cars, he must have had the fuel alarm on. That's why the gap was coming down. They were managing fuel. That's why the gap came down so much, and Yamamoto wins it by 5 seconds at the flag. But what a conclusion! What a conclusion!
I mean, that was so amazing. We entirely missed the final lap in GT300 because, well, the Green Brave Supra wins the race again at Fuji Speedway. First and last race wins of the championship season for that new Toyota Supra. Great result for them, but no one's paying them any attention because of this. There you go, confirmation. Naoki Yamamoto and Tadasuke Makino win the 2020 Super GT Championship in the most spectacular style. And there is the story. The number 37 keeper Tom Supra stopped by the side of the track. Absolutely.
Sam, can we just think about what's just happened? Toyota have led every lap pretty much of the final round of the Super GT season at a circuit they own. That grandstand is full of their employees, and the car has run out of fuel coming out of the final corner.
That is just remarkable. Big celebration is going to be going on in this cockpit. You can see the handout of the the slight little sliding window of JP Oliveira. We'll be hearing from him at the end of the race. He's going to be extremely happy. We're going to be hearing from the crew of this car as well. They've taken 2 wins, but they've just missed out on the championship. They are happy with their result. They had a chance coming into the day of winning the championship. They didn't get it done, but they got a great race result. And look at that, high fives for this very popular team. But still no sign. The door is now open on the 37 car. Hirakawa hasn't got out yet. He's slowly getting out.
No, he's not ready to get out yet. I think they've opened the doors to allow the tiers to escape.
That cockpit, the post-race interviews here are going to be they're going to be exciting. And the 100 car, has he run out of fuel as well?
Yamamoto's out of gas as well.
Yeah. Well, wow. I did wonder how close they were on fuel, and sure enough, the fuel strategy around. Look at the body language there for Hirakawa. Head hung, and he's just going to sit down, utterly heartbroken. Oh, well, that's going to hurt his hand as well, punching the Armco out of sheer fury. Well, I reckon we're going to get the GT300 interviews before we get the GT500 interviews, because the marshal's down there at the in the Parc Ferme area wondering where all the cars have gone. Well, they're stuck out on track, out of fuel. JP Oliveira, though, he's
What a race, Sam. What a race. It's been an absolute privilege. I was hoping to sort of have a look at the marshals and talk about the FIA Global Volunteers weekend, and hoping to take a moment to thank all the team at the-race for bringing us this footage. But it's just been action from the red lights going out to the checkered flag, and no one could have scripted that, the GT500 conclusion. Nobody.
It's just astonishing. I mean, we knew it were going to be close, and we knew that it would be an exciting finish. But my word, nobody could have seen that coming. No. what a finish. And still there, absolutely inconsolable right now, even though nobody's trying to console him, is Ryo Hirakawa. This is going to have to play into his head because Hirakawa also has to race next weekend at the JAF Grand Prix at Fuji Speedway, not Fuji, but at Suzuka, which will be live and in full, both races here on the-race.com. The Snatch Tractor's gone to get the Raybrick NSX and drag it back to the finish line so they can get on with their celebrations and we can have the race podium, which we will carry for you in full. But before we hear from JP Oliveira, Naoki Yamamoto, and all of the other top runners and riders, I said I'd do this. I thought I would just thank all of you from watching at home, wherever you are from watching around the world. There's an incredibly long list. I read out some of you before, but great to see all of you watching from pretty much everywhere, every corner of the globe, and it's been fantastic. And Hatsune Miku says, thanks for everything in the chat, which is very nice to see. And another big thank you from Anime Matsuri, the company from Texas, the event in Texas, all to do with Japanese culture, pop culture. And it should be a really great event. Hopefully they're able to run that as planned next summer in Austin, Texas. And hopefully we'll be able to have a little bit something special there for you all mid part of next year. And well, JP Oliveira, he looks rather less ecstatic than I'd expect. We'll hear from him just momentarily. They're getting their cables all aligned and their cycle helmets. The branded masks are in place. JP's probably still standing there wondering where the GT500 guys are. And we'll get these interviews. Hopefully we'll be faded up so you can hear them as the interview starts. Who are we going to hear from first? It's going to be JP. I think it's going to be JP. Not quite sure. They're still waving around a microphone as Naoki Yamamoto is towed home in the Raybrick NSX. So we're just trying to find out what's going on with the audio.
I think you might have to do one of your real-time translations here, Sam.
Yeah, let's just see if we can fade up the audio on JP Oliveira, who'll be speaking momentarily to us.
You grabbed your first title by yourself. Great driving, great overtake. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Not by myself, though. What a great job by the team.
No, I think we've got a technical problem there, Sam. I don't think we're able to.
You know, this year
you and I might not be able to hear this one, but they
has
can.
been a building year. We have been building through the year, and we ended the year really strong. So I'm really happy to have this experience with Fujinami-san, who did a fantastic job this year. The team, Yone, engineer, Kondo-san, who's not here, but I mean, I'm so grateful to him because the beginning of this year, I didn't know if I was going to be racing or not. So, you know, he's the one who asked me to come and race. So I'm very thankful for him. Very glad to be able to give him this present.
はい、ですね、自ら掴み取ったわけではありません。今年の初めはですね、自分自身までレースができるかもわからない状況でしたと。それでも
He looks very, very pleased with the job he's done. As he said in the interview, at the start of the year, he didn't know if he was racing. He was looking probably at the back end of his career, and this could now be a springboard for a second coming for JP Oliveira.
チャンピオンを獲得することができました。本当に嬉しいですというふうにおっしゃっています。Congratulations again, JP.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. さあ、そしてこの方にもお話を伺いましょう。
Now we hear from his teammate,
チームにもタイトルをプレゼント
also
したい
drives
とおっ
champion.
しゃって
He
いま
looked,
した。有言実
he
行で
was
す。
a
おめで
lot
とう
more
ございます。
happy with he wasn't so visibly shocked, and he's just saying it was such an exciting period to watch the whole race, and he's thanking everybody at the Nissan Automobile Technical College who support this team and Kondo Racing. He's saying his thanks to Machi Kondo as well for all the support he's put in to the team this season. It's a real shame that he's not able to attend the race, but just the way this race was, he was looking at the battle and he chased him down, and just like to thank everybody and thank JP in particular for doing such a great job. And well, he's getting quite emotional now and trying not to cry at this point, which is always entertaining to watch. and ends it with the typical thank you. I don't know if we're going to get another question. Probably not. So there, Naoki Yamamoto has reappeared in the parc fermé, so he's finally made it back, received his mask. He looks happy. So here is Yamamoto on arrival at parc fermé. We didn't see this in live because we were talking to JP Oliveira, and a big leap out of the side of that Raybrigg NSX and a big hug. Second Super GT championship in recent years for Yamamoto, but this time not with Jenson Button's help. Now we'll see the final points standings, I believe, or the race results. Mr. Graphics guy probably had everything set up in the control tower, and then that last lap happens. So I think
Mr. Graphics guy's hard drive has just crashed.
Yeah,
his keyboard's melted or something. But yeah, wow.
They gave up on me. The graphics guy, didn't they? They came back to Naoki Yamamoto, and we'll be hearing from him in just a moment after he's composed himself.
It was fabulous to see the fruits of Yamamoto's charge actually come to something, because he pushed so hard for the latter half of the race, and for him to come away empty-handed would have almost been cruel. But the fact he pushed so hard and then won it coming out of the last corner, yeah, fever, proper fever.
Well, once we've heard from the Team Kunimitsu drivers, well, one Naoki Yamamoto set off on his own and disappeared off. Makino, though, there as his Super GT champion, gives his thoughts on how the race had gone and the experience of winning a championship in such an alarming way. He'll be out in action, of course, at the Chaff Grand Prix next week at Suzuka, Honda's home track, and wonder if he'll be thinking about another race win. Winning Super GT championship is a big deal. Also gets you quite a lot of Formula 1 Super license points. And, well, as usual, Makino thanking the team, thanking the drivers, and talking about just how close things were right at the end. And saying thank you and thanking the fans at home. And, well, like everybody, they're just all a bit stunned and shell-shocked about the results. Naoki Yamamoto, the dude, as Jenson Button calls him. Well, he's happy, isn't he? Look at that. You don't need to translate that, do you? That body language said everything, and the look in his eyes is he's super thrilled. And I'm just going to let him talk in Japanese a little bit. Hopefully, one of our Japanese speakers will bring you the precise translation as to what was going on with that fuel light at the end.
レース前に今回レイブリックさんが最終レースであるということで最善を尽くすというコメントがありましたけども、
レイブリックの看板を背負って100号車のドライバーとして、9シーズン戦わせてもらいましたけど、本当に最後の最後になっちゃいましたけど、レイブリックのドライバーにふさわしい戦いが
So basically, he knew there was an issue coming towards the end of the race, and his teammate did a great job and set him up for this. And then just coming round to the end of the race, they knew they were catching, and then he knew that he had low fuel. He didn't know about the Supra, and then just passing it coming out of the final corner, he couldn't believe it.
I was just going
to say, Sam, from a driver's perspective, both of those drivers will have had a low fuel alarm flashing at them for at least 3 laps, and they then would have had a solid red fuel critical alarm for that entire last lap. So an amazing job for them both to manage it.
Well, the team were in Yamamoto's ears just saying, drive, push, push, push. And you know, if you finish, you win. If you don't, you're out of fuel. So say thank you to the fans, thank you to everybody. And probably say thank you to everybody for hitting like and subscribe. I'm sure we did. And look at that. Well, it's going to be an interesting podium ceremony. We're going to be covering it in full after the race highlights coming up shortly. We will see there's the champions congratulating the champions. Now we're hearing from the Saitama Toyo Pet team, who we all sort of forgot won the race here in GT300 because everybody's paying attention to everybody else who's won the championship. But they had a nice composed race in the three-grade Supra, and well, it was a really pretty much a textbook race other than Kotakwai's early race battle with the Subaru BRZ.
And he's just thanking the fans, and always such a polite, friendly team so far in Toyota.
はい、改めておめでとうございます。はい、ありがとうございます。そして吉田選手、
quite just saying thank you to everybody and thank you for the support.
いや本当それが嬉しいですね。はい。
Yoshida, who was in the car later on.
開幕戦の時も言ったんですけど、新しい車で苦労して、でその判断を平沼さんがしてくれたんですけど、それも多分去年のマーク X 使っていく方がリスクも少ない時期がある中でこの判断をし、それにチームが応え、実質の大差も本当に最終戦もそうですし、素晴らしい対応用意してくれたんで、そのおかげで。
But now it gives me a good opportunity actually to tell you what's coming up on the race this weekend. We still have all the reaction from Formula 1 and Bahrain Grand Prix to come up in, well, quite a few hours later today. And live esports action tomorrow in R Factor 2 as the GT Challenge Series continues. Coming soon on this channel, as we've talked about, it's the JAF Grand Prix, Super Formula's double-headed weekend next weekend. And the great 5th and 6th of December, live and in full from Suzuka.
Is that racing on both days, Sam, on both Saturday and the Sunday?
Indeed, it's a double header. It's the JAF Grand Prix. It's a little bit of a special one. So there will be 2 races at Suzuka, and it's well worth to tune in from that as we just hear the last closing comments from the Saitama Toyo Pet team, which consists of thank you. Looking back over the rest of the championship so far and the fact that they won the first race, this the last round of the 2020 season.
また自分としてはいい走りを見ていただければなと思います。はい、改めて最終戦優勝おめでとうございました。ありがとうございます。以上です。
Thank you very much in Japanese. So there you go. It's a Japanese interviewer interviewing a Japanese. Thank you in Japanese. Well, let's take a look at how we ended up in this situation as Mount Fuji just emerges its head. Now, I really want to see, Rob, look at this move. We didn't see the start of that move, but 3 cars in one manoeuvre. That was a spectacular overtaking manoeuvre by Ronnie Quintarelli. Then they had this battle in GT300 between the Subaru and the Toyota Supra, which went on for seemingly ever between these two. As the Subaru got in front, then the Green Brave car just couldn't get by. But then the action and the damage in GT500, there were no team orders in this race at all. And then Ronnie Quintarelli started to lose pace after early in the race. This battle with the Green Brave Supra getting back past the Subaru, getting it done finally, never really looked back after that point, whereas Quintarelli really did, because he spent the rest of the race looking back as everybody else was going forwards. As Makino gets past Quintarelli and moved up through the field, we hadn't really noticed the threat of the Team Kuramitsu at that point. The very leisurely pit stop there as Gamu took over the Leon Mercedes. Perhaps they were too leisurely. They got mugged later on. Then through the race, the Wacos team rookie car was involved in a good battle with the 37 Keeper Tom's Supra, while Naoki Yamamoto had taken control of the Raybrick NSX, working his way through the field. Keeper Tom's car got back past the Wacos team rookie car. Nice, neat move. But did he consume too much fuel at this point? We didn't realise that fuel was going to be a point. Normally you have a safety car, at least one, during the Super GT race. And whilst 2 cars were decided to crash into each other, the AU Tom's car picking up inflicting some serious damage on the Wacos team rookie car. The battle in GT300 was all about the chase of JP Oliveira back through the field. First, he got the move done on the Advix 86, which put him just 1 point off the championship lead. And then on the final corner, he decided to miss the Leon overtake. On the final corner, this happened. The Keeper Tom's Supra ran out of fuel and coasted across the line in 2nd position, having lost the championship just a couple of 100 meters from the finish line. The Green Brave Supra won the race in GT300, but the real story, the real shock, was about that car that was sat on the side of the track. The Tom's GR Supra sat there. Mount Fuji, not much snow on the top, but there's your race results. Yamamoto and Makino confirm the championship 5.9 seconds was the gap that finally separated the 37 car from Ryo Hirakawa from victory and the championship to second place and irrelevance. Car 36, the AU Tom Supra was third, the Keihin NSX was fourth, Arta fifth, Kraft Sports was in sixth. Rounding out the field were the guys who had trouble. The Saad Supra having a challenging season this year. Heikki Kovalainen won't be too happy with 14. The GT300, the race win went, of course, to the Saitama Toyopet Green Brave Supra, and the championship went to Fujinami and De Oliveira in the realised Nissan Automobile Technical College GTR. The Leon Mercedes ended the race in fourth position after being passed by the Adfix 86, which we didn't see that manoeuvre. The D-Station Aston Martin, I think that was their best finish of the year in a fifth position. Again, we didn't really notice it. And the Subaru faded back and dropped back to 8th position. The first of the Priuses got some points as well, down in 10th. Second Prius in 13th. The Hoppy Porsche really was a little bit anonymous in this race, finishing 14th, just ahead of Hatsune Miku in 15th position. Teddy Bear BMW down in 19th. And the Hair Tonic Nissan in 20th. Rounding out, though, the GT300 field. The 360 sports car getting that moral hazard penalty put them a long way down. The Lotus, very disappointing race at the back end of the field. They started right up the front. They had some real challenges. But meanwhile, let's have a look at the final championship order. There is confirmation that Naoki Yamamoto and Tadasuke Makino are the 2020 champions. 3 points ahead of Ryo Hirakawa. Nick Cassidy having parted company and looking at efficiency. You look down the championship order, the real story there, though, for the 24 card, last down in 19th position, Jan Mardenborough and Takaboshi won't be too happy with 4 points from a year's work. Fujinami and JP Oliveira, champions in GT300, 9 points ahead of Yoshida and Kawai in the Green Brave Supra. Their result putting them up to second, ahead of the Leon Mercedes crew in third. Toshiki Oyu finished the championship in fourth. Rob, that is not the championship result we would have expected at the start of this season, when we sort of tentatively came for the first event of the year, a very hastily pulled together arrangement, and a series that we didn't even know was going to take place this year. And when that first race happened at Fuji Speedway, it was eye-opening, was it not?
It was, and at the time, the Supras were showing amazing performance. Nissan had obviously taken a jump forwards as well. And for Honda to win the championship at the last corner of the last round, yeah, it's just incredible. Ryo Hirakawa ends up 2 points and a cup full of fuel away from the championship winning drive. Just, yeah. I'm in shock. It's literally, it's probably 100 millilitres of fuel that car would have used on the run up to the line, and that's what it came down to. Were the team managers, were the engineers gambling for a safety car? They probably were. You know, margins are fine in top level motorsport like this, and you would have said on a day like today there possibly could have been a safety car, but it came down to the last corner of the last lap, and a Honda wins the Super GT Championship at the home of Toyota. You couldn't have scripted it. You simply couldn't.
Dre Bray, thank you very much, says, what a great season. Thank you all. And I echo those comments completely. Jay Bray, it has been a great season, and thank you all for joining us here on the race. There's still more action to come, so stay tuned for a little while longer. We've got the podium ceremonies to come, the championship podium ceremonies, which are always a little bit different here in Super GT. We've also got breaking news out of the Valencia circuit from the-race.com's Sam Smith. He's spoken to Nick Cassidy about this situation with the JAF Grand Prix next weekend. Nick is going to be testing the Envision Formula E car until Tuesday, and then is going to fly back to Japan on Wednesday. As a resident of Japan, they're going to try and get him through the paperwork and quarantine to be able to race at Suzuka on Saturday and Sunday, but there are no guarantees. Now, Cassidy is in contention for the Super Formula Championship this year, so that is a real risk that Cassidy faces, that he might not make it to into the cockpit of the Vantolin Team Tom's car for the JAF Grand Prix. I'm not sure who the test and reserve driver will be, but Sam Smith, the race's star Formula E and truck racing reporter, coming to us live from Valencia. He is at the circuit there covering this. So Sean Saul says Sugo 2003 he thought was the best JGTC Super GT race finish ever. This topped it, and he's still in absolute shock. So are we. I'm also slightly shocked that there's not all that much snow on the top of Mount Fuji. But there you go. It's considered good luck to be able to see the top of Mount Fuji. I'm not sure Ryo Hirakawa will be thinking of it that way, and we will be seeing Ryo Hirakawa in theory on the podium because he finished second in the race, and it will be very interesting, if slightly heartbreaking, to see his body language and facial expressions. Rob, I mean, how do you deal with a situation like that?
Oh, it's just going to be heartbreaking for him going into the winter as well, Sam. He's going to be inconsolable till at least mid-January. I think we're going to see a Ryo Hirakawa cardboard cutout on the podium, whether it's an actual cardboard cutout or a hollow shell of a broken racing driver. Yeah, he's just going to have to console himself with the fact that he was managing the lead and managing that fuel flow issue. But yeah, just fell 100 mils short on the run to the line.
Well, he can't take that long to recover because he's leading the Super Formula Championship against Nick Cassidy. He's got an 11-point lead over Nick Cassidy with 3 races to go in Super Formula, 2 of which are next weekend. And it looks like his biggest title rival may not be able to make it back. But Hirakawa still has a title to fight for this year, and it will be live and in full here on the-race.com. So hit like and subscribe, and the Hirakawa and Cassidy's battle will be continued at Suzuka Circuit. Now, if you're wondering what's going on, well, the organisers are trying to shepherd a bunch of drivers, some very happy, some not so happy, to the podium ceremonies, which we'll be bringing you in full momentarily once they've got it going. But it gives us a little bit of an opportunity for me to say to you all at home who are watching, thank you for joining us here on the-race for this year's Super GT coverage. It's good to be back on the commentary for this wonderful motor racing series. I'd like to thank everybody at home for watching from all around the world. It's been absolutely brilliant to have you all with us all year long, particularly in a year that's been so difficult for so many people all around the world, and of course for us in the studio and in Japan for the series itself. Sponsorship and support coming from companies like Takanoko Hotel, and I will definitely be making a point of going and staying there. And if you spend any time and visit Japan, which I strongly recommend you go and stay for at least a few nights in that hotel too, to show your thanks to them and all of the sponsors of the 2020 Autobax Super GT Championship. And I'd like to thank our guys in Japan from GTA, Kusan, and all of the others there for helping us out, and the interview team at Super GT for helping us, and of course everybody from Grand Central and Aid and Jules, Rab and Louis for helping us out, and of course that Rob Barff bloke who turns up occasionally. It's great to have you, and you know my response to all of those people, especially you at home watching, is pretty much the response of these Saitama Toyo Pet drivers, waving and very happy and thanking all of you. But here's two guys who are a lot happier, the new 2020 GT300 champions in the Realize Group sponsored Kondo Racing Run Nissan Mechanical and Technical College car. There's a car that they've had a solid season. This is a team to watch for 2021. The Advix Muta GT86. They've been solid all year, and they could have had a bit of a title tilt. And I think they are ones to watch as the season develops into 2021. Interesting waistband difference there, I noticed.
Yeah, you have a choice with race suits: pockets, no pockets; belt, no belt; NASCAR legs, no NASCAR legs. But yeah, are we going to see tears?
We're seeing one of the girls got a hat on the wrong side of the head, though, I think. Look, this is a very nice trophy at Fuji Speedway. Nice etching, as I always point out. With Super GT only visiting 3 tracks this year, Motegi, Fuji Speedway and Suzuka, due to the pandemic. We haven't seen some of our more unusual trophies, it's fair to say, this year, but we do have some of the classier trophies of the year, the famous Suzuka Deer Bell Trophy, and the lovely etching on the Mount Fuji trophy, and the winners of GT300 get they also get the AUTECH trophy, which they should be picking up momentarily. There you go. There's the AUTECH trophy from the series sponsor AUTECH. This is Mr. Orange Jacket's personal trophy, and that's a great chain of automotive accessory shops all over Japan, and there's some in Europe as well. I've spotted some driving around bits of France and Central Europe as well. AUTECH is slowly coming to Europe, and they are really good. And a big wave to the fans at home there, and that's looking straight down the camera. And the next trophy to be raised will be the bit of wood, which is a traditional Fuji Speedway trophy. So Type drivers now getting the instructions to pick up a piece of wood. There it is. That's the one. Yep, that's the one, guys. Pick it up. No, don't wave. Pick up the trophy.
I think he spotted his nan.
Yeah, but he needs to pick up the trophy. They're aware of it. They've been pointing them. If they're listening to us, they know the trophy. They're now declining to pick up the trophy. They've got good flag techniques, but they're poking each other in the bottom with their flag poles. Yeah. But they will get that wood eventually, and there's a loft. Maybe, but that bit of wood. Now he's picking it up. No, yes. Now you get now you raise the wood. Slight confusion there. Now this is a piece of wood that's awarded to the race winner, and as you'll see written on, it's to do with a water company, a special sort of water. I'm not sure if you drink it or bathe in it, to be honest, but some sort of Mount Fuji water. The spring water from this part of the world is absolutely gorgeous to drink. Lovely flavour, and I always make a point of bringing back a little bit of Mount Fuji water to drink at home on special occasions when I return from Japan. And then everybody will pick up all of the trophies all at once. That's the always challenge. The championship winners won't get their championship trophies until a formal ceremony in a couple of weeks' time in Tokyo. Quite how that's going to be held, we're not quite sure yet because of the pandemic, whether it will be this normal format or whether it will be remote. We wait to see. But in the meantime, JP Oliveira, Fujinami, and the rest of the guys here will have to be content with their very nicely edged Fuji Speedway trophies.
JP Oliveira, Sam. JP Oliveira looks shot away, doesn't he? He looks really sort of shocked by all this. He's clearly not jumping up and down. He's not ecstatic. He's obviously put his heart and soul into the chase this afternoon, and yeah, he's come away with the championship. Almost looks shocked to have done it.
Well, you can tell when a racing driver is physically knackered because they're covered in sweat and just looking destroyed. But I think this has been a mentally knackering race for JP Oliveira as well. He has had a thrilling season behind the wheel. I mean, that action in Suzuka where he was basically used as, it was something from curling. He was just being bumped into by just about everybody on every lap. Those final few laps in Suzuka were a really spectacular moment. JP got in touch with me after the race, and he was not happy about that. And at that point, the championship wouldn't have seemed even vaguely possible. But sure enough, the Nissan GT3, a car that isn't by any stretch of the imagination a new car anymore, manages to clinch yet another title. That's pretty impressive. And all of them left almost all of their trophies behind, which is, rather ungrateful. If I'd won a race or a championship, I wouldn't let go of those trophies. I'd be booking myself an extra seat on the romance car back to Shinjuku from Katemba Station. Though looking at the time of day, they've probably missed the last train of the day, so they'll have to go back on the slow train to Mishima and change and take the Shinkansen to Tokyo, and then the JR line across to Shinjuku that way, if they indeed are going to Shinjuku. And if you've never been to Tokyo, what I just said made absolutely no sense to you.
I just left you to hang yourself out to dry there, just with your in-depth knowledge of regional Japanese railways.
I do have a silly knowledge of regional Japanese railways. It is true, Rob. Well, Rob, okay, I'm going to put you on the spot now. It's been a great Super GT Championship year in 2020, but if you could pick out one moment from the entire championship year as your highlight of Super GT 2020, what would it be?
There's only one moment that I have been off my chair on my knees in my office with my hands raised in the air. And I'm sure the guys in the studio are going to pull the footage off and put it up at some point, which was coming off the last corner of the last lap of the last race when the championship was decided. It was, you couldn't have scripted it. That just simply doesn't happen. Both cars will have been managing unbeknown to us. Like, we knew they were going to be tight on fuel, but we didn't know that they would have had a fuel critical alarm on coming on to that last lap. And yeah, Ryo Hirakawa, he had that 2.7 second lead, and it looked as if that was going to be enough, and it almost was. But yeah, for me, when the championship was decided, Sam, that was when my season was made.
Yeah, I mean, Aid, one of our producers, has made the exact same comment as you while you were talking there, Rob. He said, yeah, that last lap just absolutely had to be the moment of the season. For me, though, slightly different response, just simply different, because sometimes I like that. For me, the first race of the year was the moment of the year when we knew that we would, after all, get a Super GT championship that year. That was pretty important for me. It did look for a long time that we were not going to have Super GT at all in 2020, and we didn't know how we were going to be able to bring you the coverage. And to be back, for me to be back on air with you, Rob, and the guys in the studio and the guys at Grand Central, for us to be able to be back doing Super GT and bringing you this fantastic motor racing series, that was great. That was a great moment for me, just at the start of the season, to be able to bring you this great racing once more, and to be able to bring it to this enormous audience of all of you at home, all around the world, here on YouTube, live, exclusive, and free to watch. That's the way motor racing should be. Not behind paywalls, not behind any sort of registration. You should be able to watch this action. And what action it's been, as Naoki Yamamoto and the Team Kunimitsu crew, Makino alongside him, raised the trophies. But there is a man who has had to come to terms with that result. Ryo Hirakawa, second step of the podium, second in the championship. And he has, well, he doesn't have to go far to go home. Gotemba, where Fuji Speedway is, the nearest town to Fuji Speedway, is where the Team Toms are located. And I suspect they'll all be sitting around a few cups of sake and commiserating quietly together this evening. Mr. Orange Jacket's joined everybody on the podium, though, which is nice to see. Haven't seen him today. And Naoki Yamamoto and Team Kunimitsu raise the Autobax trophy, the Honda racing flags, and say a much-needed farewell to the Raybrig brand in Super GT. I wonder who'll sponsor them next year. It's got to be a pretty attractive deal, hasn't it, to take on reigning champion car for the 2021 season. We won't be talking about a Raybrig NSX next year. We will be talking about Team Kunimitsu. 500,000 yen, the best performing car. And if you are wondering, that is 853,479 Djiboutian francs and 33 cents. And that is 178,192 Mauritanian Ugoyas, and that's a currency that's no longer valid. So quite why you want to know that, I don't know. And it's bizarrely, for the second time this morning, I've decided to talk about Turkmenistan. The first reason was a statue of a dog, and that's 16,808 Turkmenistani manats. And of course, which you all know, it is that 500,000 yen is 37,529 Guatemalan quetzals. Just in case you weren't sure of those currency conversions and how much 500,000 yen is, that's how much it is. What would you spend your 37,000 Guatemalan quetzals on, Rob?
Very good point. I've not really been spending a lot of money this year. Not really had the need or the want, and I'd probably spend it on a ticket to somewhere warm and sunny, I think. And now the travel restrictions are easing, I think a holiday might be in order. But just to reiterate what you were saying, Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure to be back commentating on Super GT with you. Big thanks to all the backroom staff, to all the Grand Central team and the guys in the studio. We rely on you a lot, and I know there's a good bit of banter between us, but we know you're there and we never ever take you for granted. So thank you very, very much as we see the GT 500 race winners, the championship winners. They've got trophy, they've got wood, they've got big smiles on their faces, and it'll be great to be back here next year commentating as they defend their championship title.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you name it. For me, actually, whilst we had a great season, it's great to be back. It feels like coming home doing this series, doesn't it? Next year, things are going to be very, very different. Different calendar. I don't think has been confirmed for Super GT next year. GTA, graphics guy may surprise us because Bando-san is in the office next door, so may walk around and say, can you make this graphic of a calendar and put it out? The situation, travel restrictions in Malaysia, in Thailand, and potentially in Indonesia as well, may mean that the calendar is not the same format. We are expecting that the Sepang night race in Malaysia will be held at some point next season in 2021. I believe it might be the latter part of the year. Talking to the organisers there, hopefully we'll be there on site, bringing you the latest coverage. Might have a little bit of special content from Malaysia there, because we know we have Malaysian fans tuned in. They watch the English language coverage of Super GT.
The dude is on fire, Sam. The dude is on fire. We've spoken a lot about body language, and yeah, both Yamamoto and Makino, they're delighted with the result and showing their Raybrig logos for the final time.
Well, there's the team's championship ranking as well as the drivers' championship. Team Koremitsu, of course, taking the championship with 90 points, just ahead of keeper Team Tom's 86, Keihin Real Racing 80 points, 80th. Fourth position was the TGR team, sort of the AU team Tom. So reasonable season for Tom's. Nismo 5th, Arta 6th, Wacos team rookie debut season in 7th, Team Sard 8th, 9th is the Tsurumo team, and Nissan VMAX Racing down in 10th. Really good season for Toyota with the new Supra. Great debut year. Kondo Racing, though, terrible season in GT 500, but champions in GT 300. Edging out the Saitama Toyopet team and the K2 R&D Leon Racing team. Our team Arta Autobacks 4th, Gainer 5th, R&D Sport in the Subaru 6th. Good Smile Racing at Team Ukyo. Shouldn't be too disheartened with 7th, but we did expect more from them this year. And the Adfix team 8th, Cars Tokai Dream 9th. There's the other top finishers in GT 300 in teams points. We won't get a teams podium. We should get a little bit of a moment to reflect on what was quite a wild race, as I understate. RJ O'Connell described it as Super GT's Glock moment. And here we go for that Super GT Glock moment. Just as the fuel ran out the final corner, Raybrig NSX swept by and took a stunning and spectacular victory after what was a pretty spectacular race regardless.
There was one point when that happened, Sam, where we were both just shouting, wow. And then there was just dead air as Ryo Hirakawa ground to a halt. It was like we both realized what had just happened, and looking at the Kunimitsu NSX take the victory was just breathtaking almost.
It really was. And well, I'm still trying to get over that, quite frankly. I mean, that isn't just a great motor racing moment, that was a great sporting moment, and it's a real privilege to be able to you know, shout about it in public. It's been a great privilege as well to be able to talk to everybody about this fine motor racing. And it's going to be good. I mean, on the calendar next year as well, return to Sportsland Sugo. Really missed that in Super GT. That always provides completely bonkers races. And if you think how exciting the races have been at Motegi, Suzuka, and here at Fuji Speedway so far, well, this season in Super GT, then you have to think how much crazier it would have been at Autopolis, at Sugo, at just everywhere the series will be going in future. To Chang International, that's always a good circuit for people like Jan Mardenborough. So it's going to be great to have a proper year of Super GT back next year. Of course, the ongoing pandemic is still a major issue, and the likes of this company here, Takanoko Hotel, have really kept this series going, and it's good to see them getting some international exposure. Though, as I told one company in Japan, the Japanese language logo is great. If you want to attract international visitors, write it in English too. As what Yokohama have done. Well, we'll see the cars there on the finish line. There's usually a little bit of a drawn-out procedure at the end of the race, at the end of the championship decider in Super GT. And the production company in Japan don't necessarily stick to what they're going to tell us is going to come next. So we're just listening to goings-on. That's why the fans are still in the grandstand. They quite often get to go and see some of their drivers, and there's usually some presentations on the starting grid. Whether they're going to do that or not, we don't know. But yes, we're going back to a podium ceremony, and I think this is for the championship.
Let's hope there's sportswear, Sam. I love a bit of sportswear on a podium.
Oh, we still haven't topped the golf bags, in my opinion. Although the bucket of fish heads was quite good.
I'm a big fan of baskets of rice.
Yes, I mean, it was a lot of rice, 30 kilos. I mean, I was a student, when I was a student many years ago, I'd buy 2 kilo bags of rice and 5 kilo bags of rice because they were cheaper and they'd last for most of the time. So 30 kilos of rice is a lot of rice. I eat a lot of rice. So we are still in the chat, and it's good to see you too. Well, we try and work out what podium ceremony this was. Roberto Pinao says, thanks for the amazing commentary all season. And here is a representative of Kondo Racing. It's not Machi Kondo himself. Well, he's not here. And he takes the step on the podium. So I think this is the team's championship podium. But Kondo won the GT300 team's championship. So why is he on the third step of the podium? I'm not sure. Oh no, he has gone out to the top step of the podium. Not helpful, that particularly. And then the Leon team, where you're no doubting, they've got very good branded clothing at the Leon team.
Yeah, that's Hiroki Kuwasawa as well, who used to race in British F3 back in the day.
Yeah.
I didn't do F3, I was doing GT at the time, but we sort of shared accommodation from time to time.
That sounds like a rumour that should be started.
Well, remember, he used to get car sick, and that's how he got the name Puki Hiroki.
Yes, of course. We talked about that earlier in the season. So Mr. Orange Jacket has appeared. He will be presenting the Autobacks Award to the top 3 teams. There you go, there's your team's champion. Collecting, that's quite a nice trophy actually, it's glass one. I can't see quite what's etched onto it. It's the tracks that we visited this year. Not sure if it's the tracks we meant to visit or the tracks we actually did visit though. Can't quite make that out at the moment. Let's zoom in. A bit more, please.
No, it is. It's the tracks we visited this year. It's the 4 venues.
Yeah. We've only been to 3.
Good point.
I don't know what the fourth track on there is, so that's an interesting one. Definitely Suzuka was on there and Fuji was on there, and I'm guessing one of the others was Motegi.
Yeah, Motegi was on there. I thought I saw Fuji on there twice, perhaps, so yeah, maybe.
Could have been each championship round. That could explain what they are. That's why you saw Fuji twice. And now we're getting a presentation from a man in a suit. I don't know who he is, unfortunately. Because of the social distancing, they can't present it. Oh, that's quite a nice trophy, isn't it?
Old school.
Yeah. I like it's sort of a vase being mounted on a plinth.
With some coat hooks.
Yes, basically, yes. That's a proper trophy, that though. I'm not quite sure, unfortunately, what trophy that is. We didn't get provided a list of this section of the podium ceremonies, so we didn't even know they were happening. So we'll just keep going, talk you through. I mean, I think that's what they're asking themselves. What's this one?
Nice ribbon, I think he just said.
Yeah, I think someone's got a very large bottle of sake, but the team that finished second got it. Not the team who won. Nice hat. Great. There you go, thank you for showing us. So now he's going to pick up what I believe to be
a roll of lead.
No, I thought that was a bottle of sake, but now I don't know what it is. What is that? It's like a giant battery.
A prize of the Ministry of Land and Infrastructure, Transport and something. So it's a prize, Sam. He's won a prize, a very large paperweight, but he lifted it and held it up high with pride.
I'm not sure. The Green Brave team, very nice bunch. I'm not sure what that prize was for, or why they won it and the others didn't.
Oh, this is great. I love this. Look, another trophy. Oh, another old school trophy, Sam, with ribbons, matching ribbons.
It's like the FA Cup. I like this trophy. Oh, it's Bando-san's arrived, fist pumping. There you go. Don't leave him hanging. He's a very nice man. So he's come to stand by. This is the Champions Trophy. So the other one wasn't the Champions Trophy, but that is the Champions Trophy. Team's Championship for GT300. There you can see the Super GT logo, and you can see it on the plaque. I'm not sure what's on the other plaques, but that one is definitely it. So Masaki Bando, he is the boss of GTA, the Super GT Championship, and I think he was probably explaining something to do with that mystery trophy. Our producer might have, and our producer has sent us has enhanced the image of that trophy that looks like a battery to me. It is the prize of the Ministry of Land and Infrastructure and Tourism, supplier of...
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I said it was, Sam.
Yeah, supplier of the JAF GT3... is that they're a supplier of the JAF GT300 winner this year. So the best placed JAF GT300 car, that's what that prize is. I'm still not entirely convinced I know what it is other than a prize. Answers in the chat if you have any idea what that pink and light blue prize.
Paperweight.
Yeah, I'm sure it looks very specific with the drillings on the bottom. Yes.
So the photographers are all still in position. The crowd are all still in the grandstand. It looks like we're in for another round of hilarity. Hopefully, the GT500 is as unpredictable as the GT300.
Well, yes. I mean, so unpredictable, we didn't know this part of the podium ceremony was happening. So there you go. So yes, it's the best of the JAF GT300 cars gets the trophy. Zephy Ray suggested it was for a mother chassis GT machine. The Toyopet GR-SUZUKA is not a mother chassis car. It's a JAF 300 car, and that was the award for the best placed JAF GT300 car. Had a JAF GT300 car not been in the top 3 in the championship, I don't know when they would have presented that trophy. And here's Mr. Kunomitsu. Coming around to take his step on the top of the podium. Look quite sure where to go because we don't really normally see these chaps on the podium, so he's going up to get his prizes. We'll see what they consist on. And our producer is highlighting a logo that keeps on getting shown. I've explained it already. Our producer listening. It's the logo of the Takanoko Hotel. The sponsors of many of the races this year and are really important in making sure Super GT happens. So yes, please do go and stay at the Takanoko Hotel. I certainly will do, and I will be posting about that on social media when I'm allowed to go back to Japan, which doesn't seem soon any point, anytime soon.
You just got called Samuel in the chat.
Yes.
Aha, you've been told off.
I've been told off for about the 8th time in this broadcast. Probably not for the last time either. It's the end of the season. I mean, it's not like we've got 3 more races to do this year. Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, I'm just still trying to work out. The trophy seems to have 4 racetracks.
Yeah, so the etchings from the top, it's Fuji, Suzuka, Motegi and Fuji on the bottom. So 2 lots of Fuji with a Suzuka Motegi sandwich in the middle.
Yeah.
Ah, they're etched on both sides. So there's 4 races on each side of the trophy, so 8 races in total for our 8 rounds of the championship.
That's a really nice trophy. And speaking of really nice trophy, the team's champion trophy, well, what I take to be the team's champion trophy, looks really, really nice and quite spectacular. Big silver trophy, big silver job. Very big, actually. I think we'll see Mr. Kunimitsu pick it up.
Mr. Kunimitsu might need help to pick it up. It looks a weighty item.
About half the size of him. It literally comes up to his waist almost. They're now being briefed on which trophy to pick up next, I guess. Kunimitsu. There it is. Look at that is.
Come on, give the old fella a hand. Don't let him struggle. He'll put his back out.
I mean, that trophy is enormous. Of course, well deserved. So if we're getting the champions trophies here, then I'm guessing we might get the drivers champion trophies. So that is the Super GT 2020 Teams Champions trophy.
Oh, his poor back. Bend with your knees. Bend with your knees, not with your back.
An enormous trophy. That does need its own seat on the romance car back to Gotemba. In fact, from Gotemba. And our producer is still pointing out that Bridgestone tyres has the full top 5 as Masaki Bando comes and does his fist bumps. Down with the kids. And a big thumbs up from Mr. Kunimitsu. They used to be racing rivals, those two. When Bando ran his own team in the championship. And the GT300 winner was also using Bridgestone tyres. Our producer points out, yes, it was a very good day for Bridgestone. They'll probably have their own podium ceremony shortly. Everybody else seems to get one. So we'll get the gold trophy. Not sure what that's from. It's another traditional trophy.
Sam, do you know who the gentleman in the Keeper Tom's jacket is? The leather jacket to Mr. Kunimitsu's right? He struck me because he's got lovely hair, a nice bouffant.
He does. He actually, there's a guy with very similar hairstyle who's seen here in the Nissan in his team as well. There's 2 chaps in GT with that approach to their hair arrangement. Meanwhile, in the grandstand, some people have flags, and this podium ceremony is over. We may get some more podium ceremonies. We're not entirely sure. I think we might get a drivers' championship podium ceremony, but I wouldn't take that for red. There's the 2021 provisional schedule. Graphics Man was doing something. So the season will start at Okayama, then Fuji Speedway, Suzuka, then a race at Chang International in Thailand. That's the TBA date. And then the Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia. That will be the night race. Then Sportsland Sugo, then Autopolis, and then the championship finale at Twin Ring Motegi. For 8 rounds of Super GT. It feels like there's a Fuji Speedway round missing there, doesn't it?
Which could be one of the replacements for Thailand or Malaysia. So there you can see April, May, gap, September, October, November. So yeah, there could easily be a summer Fuji race in there, couldn't there, Sam?
Yeah, a long distance race for Fuji Speedway. It always used to be 2 races at Fuji Speedway. There's a 300-kilometer race and then the 500-mile race. And the Golden Week Fuji race looks to be the only one on the calendar. There doesn't seem to be a shorter Fuji race. So that's something of a surprise on the calendar, provisional calendar.
Yeah, that Golden Week would see the race on a Tuesday, wouldn't it? Wow.
That's correct. That's actually normal for the Fuji race round 2. But what is less normal is that the Suzuka circuit is early in the calendar since it stopped being the Suzuka 1,000 kilometers. Sportsline Sugo, Autopolis, Twin Ring, Motegi. You'd normally see another race at Fuji somewhere tucked in there. Oh, watches.
They're massive watches. They're like watches for a giant. Or are they just pictures of watches?
No, they're real watches, mate. Sure. Now, this is a podium for... I don't know what this podium is for. I just do not know what podium we're about to see. This makes... it's the drivers in GT300. GT300 Drivers' Championship then. So JP Oliveira and Fujinami back on top of the podium again. Well, they get to go on the top of the podium, so this time they're on the second step. Double flag technique again. JP Oliveira is now wondering, it's like, last time I was up here, it was daylight. It's now getting dark. Totally missed that last train.
Yeah, he spotted his nan again. She's come down from the grandstand now. She's got trackside.
So I think this is a pretty easy prize to interpret. So this is going to be a little bit bitter for the Leon Racing Mercedes drivers because they are, of course, sponsored by the watch company that their title rivals have just won watches from. So JP Oliveira is going to get a new watch, and it's from that sister's company who sponsor the team they beat for the title. Mr. Orange Jacket, though, is first up. And enjoying things. Now we're getting slightly random shots coming up. What am I looking at? I think someone's just... Oh, I'm trying to make this appear. You take this over. I think we have finally got an explanation of all of the awards.
Well, yeah, there's various awards. The big one was a special Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry Award Cup.
That's a special award Super GT presented by the Minister of Economy to the winning team of the GT500 Championship in recognition of outstanding performance in motorsport based on state-of-the-art technology and the contribution of Japanese automotive culture. Then these,
so that was the giant one that Mr. Kunimitsu got. Then the little gold one with the red and white ribbons on was the championship one.
So this trophy they've just picked up is the AUTECH trophy from Mr. Orange Jacket, and that's those given to each top finisher in the championship, of course. The trophy we couldn't identify in GT300, this is a slightly bizarre one from my point of view, was the trophy from the Liberal Democrats of Japan. They are the ruling political party in Japan, and that is the Liberal Democrat Party of Japan Motorsports Promotion Federation for the purpose of advancement of the Japanese automotive culture and contributing to society through motorsport. A cup is awarded to the season's GT300 winning team. So there you go. The watches that are being raised aloft, that's pretty straightforward. We understand what that's all about. And there's a Best Mechanics trophy, but that never reaches the podium.
The drivers on the top step just discussing what their minimum bid they're going to take on eBay for their watch will be. They had a little glance at the photo and then had a little discussion between them. So I reckon you'll see those on eBay. 10-day auction, minimum amount set.
It'd be pretty high. It'd be a pretty high amount. The Sistos Challenge Chronograph, the Super GT Champion watch, manufactured in Switzerland, probably near Zurich somewhere. Is quite a collectible, limited edition watch, so quite an important one. Now we've got this information sheet, it makes things all make absolutely so much more sense.
So yeah, there's the championship trophy to accompany their, what, €15,000 watches. Nice day in the office, boys. Well done.
That looks like the Minister of Land Infrastructure and Transport Tourism Cup, but that's only for GT300, but the design of it looks extremely similar.
Yeah, it's got GT300 Drivers Champion written on the front of it.
Yeah, so this is the Minister of Land Infrastructure and Transport and Tourism Cup. This is a cup that's awarded to the highest finishing, the description's incorrect because that's not right. That's what that, it recognises the contribution of to Japanese automotive industry development technology.
Of course it does. Of course it does. That was the highlight of my season, actually. That second random podium.
I think there's more. The watches, apparently, if you wanted to purchase one of those watches, which you can't, but if you were to go on eBay and do a buy it now price, the price would probably be about 12,000 of your English pounds. Though, the rate that currency is falling, it's probably not the best currency. It's probably about 13,000 euros.
How many Guatemalan quetzals is that, Sam?
More than you can afford, mate.
I could sell my car, convert it into Guatemalan quetzals and buy myself a watch. Lovely.
Yeah, you don't need time where you live, mate. It's literally a different time zone. The sun comes up and sets at a different time for the rest of the country. Rob Barff lives in a strange part of the United Kingdom, which the rest of the United Kingdom don't really remember exists. Moving on, though, we are going to keep this going because there may or may not be more podium ceremonies. There are more podium ceremonies. Well, okay, this is the GT500's podium ceremony.
And Sam, just for your own reference, if I were to purchase one of those watches in Guatemala, I would expect to spend just south of 125,000 Guatemalan quetzals.
Well, Naoki Yamamoto won't be spending that money. He doesn't need to spend those Guatemalan quetzals. He's just got himself a new watch. Even though he's already wearing one, he's got himself a very shiny new Swiss watch. And Ryo Harikawa, on his own, gets to stand there. He doesn't get the watch. If Hirakawa had won, Sistos had obviously supplied two watches to the championship. He is a solo champion. What was the other watch, I wonder?
It doesn't get put on the wrist of Nick Cassidy.
No.
Unfortunately.
He's already got one. Or two. He's got two of them, hasn't he? Already. Jensen Button's got one. Well, he's got two, actually. Bertrand Baguette, we saw him at the top of the show. Now we see him at the end of the show. I wonder if he's a little bit bewildered by these podiums. Let's see what trophies we get here. Pierre there, he speaks excellent English. He was interested in coming and doing a co-promoted broadcast with us on the race at one point, so we might try and arrange that for next season. It might be quite fun. I'd like to know who won the ZF Best Mechanics Award, but it doesn't look like we're going to find out because that is the AUTECH trophy for the Drivers' Championship, and it's just the same as the ones that were given to the GT300 drivers, GT500 team bosses, GT300 team bosses. They must produce a lot of those AUTECH trophies, very nice as they are. We're going to have a whole case at the Team Kuramitsu to get all of these trophies back to the factory. It's going to be quite a challenge, I think. So, just seeing what other trophies we may expect. The Sistos Award for the watch, the Best Performance Award, the AUTECH Award, and that's the watch they'll be getting. Red will go with the Honda flags and the Bridgestone caps. Quite neat. Ryo Hirakawa has to just endure this process.
Look what you could have won. 100 mils short.
Indeed. And Bertrand Baguette just sitting there wondering why he's there. They're very polite in Belgium. Standing politely, all of them. Here comes Bando-san, fist bump everybody. Didn't fist bump. Oh, okay. Oh, he was going to start a fight with Naoki Yamamoto there. No, it's not Yamamoto, is it? It's
Makino.
Start a fight with Makino. Well, Bando-san used to race Toyotas in JGTC, his own team. The MR2s were on his banner. Certainly handed over the team Bando, was taken over by his son, who runs it to this day. Saki Bando runs GTA Championship. Supporter of our broadcast here. Hopefully, let's keep doing this. I hope he doesn't watch the podium. Well, there's that podium for the Drivers' Championship, and Ryo Hirakawa departing stage right. Not looking particularly pleased with having been made to stay there.
Does that conclude our fun and games, Sam? I think it might do.
I mean, who knows? I mean, genuinely, these podium ceremonies, we might get another one, we might not, we might get a speech, we might not, we might get a highlights reel, we might not. So I think we just chat until we hear hero music.
Yeah, just coming around to 4 o'clock local time, and yeah, it's proper chilly. Nice to see the fans all staying in the grandstand to watch the podium ceremonies. And as Ada, our producer, has just said, it's great to see so many people staying on our feet to watch them and enjoy them with us. So a big thank you to all those people.
Rounds
Hearts were broken. And we look forward to another great year of Super GT. Thanks for joining us here on the-race.com for Super GT 2020. I've been Sam Collins, and I've been joined by Rob Barff. This has been produced by GTA and Grand Central Entertainment for the-race.com. See you next year.
Welcome to the race.
And the lights are out. Great start then.
The Moto2 champion steps into the team that's dominating the championship.
I'm Scott Mitchell from the race. We're here at Barcelona.
Sebastian Vettel is fighting for his career.
There has to be a title assault, and anything less will be a failure.
Oh, and a spin!
Who wants to go, bro?